So then we have all the idiots from council.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday evening, July 20th, 2026. This is a regular meeting of the Gorham Planning Board. Please join me in pledging allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Folks, would you please silence your cell phones? Thank you. Ms. Iman, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Chair, I'll call the roll. Mr. Benson.
Here.
Mr. Frank.
Here.
Ms. Nichols.
Here.
Mr. Delaney.
Here.
Mr. Hager.
Here.
Mr. Walsh.
Here.
Mr. Crisafulli. 6 out of 7.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in your packet, we have approval of the minutes of the meeting from July 6th, 2026. I'd look to our secretary to review, please.
Mr. Chair, I have reviewed the minutes of the July 6th meeting and found nothing that needs correction. They look great, and I would recommend them for approval.
Is that a motion, please?
Yes, I would make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 6th, 2026 Planning Board meeting minutes.
Thank you. Is there a second, please?
Mr. Frank.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Any other questions or discussions? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? I'm neutral. I'm sorry.
I abstain.
Abstain. So we have four votes and two abstained. Thank you. I was not here. Moving along, public hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Item 1 on our agenda this evening is a public hearing site plan, Amazon.com Services LLC, a request for review of a proposal to construct a 146,280 square foot warehouse facility with parking, access drives for trucks and delivery vans, utilities, and other associated infrastructure on M30L1, zoned industrial. The applicant is represented by Chris Taylor, PE, with Sebago Techniques. I'd like to ask planning to please introduce this, and we have some comments by Town Attorney, Attorney Savinsky.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. The Amazon application has been reviewed multiple times by staff and peer review engineers. This is the third planning board meeting and the second public hearing. Since the previous planning board meeting, the packet has been revised, mainly to reflect the review comments provided during the previous reviews and public comment, and the wishes of the planning board. So the key updates include the site plans have been revised through June 22nd, plus there is a June 26 comment response package to address the comments again through June 22nd. There are alternate layouts. There's a discussion of van parking relocation and a possible Sear Drive connection. Staff, town engineer Wright Pierce, who's our peer review engineer, note these would likely increase wetland impacts and or add to traffic and safety issues. There were some buffering changes. They added buffer along Shamrock Drive, which included a 10-foot fence, a berm, additional plantings. They lowered the light poles along that edge. There was more pull-through van spaces, which they can describe more fully. And they upgraded the van backup alerts. Pedestrian sidewalk changes include revisions to the plan so that it now shows sidewalk along the Main Street frontage and connection to Libby Avenue. Staff still has concerns about the mid-block crossing that's still shown on the site plan. That was discussed with them during a review a couple weeks ago. The traffic update. The main DOT scoping meeting summary has been added to the review memo, so that's inside your packet. There is a TMP Section 7 traffic study that remains to be completed, so that is an outstanding thing with DOT. Barton LaJudas, who's our traffic peer review engineer, he has provided comments about that in your memo. Noise update. Barton LaJudas, again, the noise peer review engineer, has stated that the mitigation berm and the added fence height are satisfactory, and they have no additional comments. The DEP shoreline wetland question from the public. The staff asked DEP to clarify that, and in a July 6th DEP email that's added into your memo, they indicated the identified wetlands do not trigger shoreland zoning under Chapter 1000. There are added comments from the Code Department about EV charging. The Economic Development Director has added a comment. The town engineer has revised his comments. There is additional Conservation Commission comments. There's a new Economic Development Commission letter in your review memo. And there are updated abutter comments that were received since the last meeting. The conditions of approval have been revised since the last meeting to add in a no-cut buffer, a sidewalk plan requirement to be submitted to town staff and peer review engineers for review, the Portland Water District ability to serve letters, public infrastructure guarantees, and a $150,000 cross-town trail contribution. So the findings now incorporate the new peer review conclusions, revised pedestrian lighting buffering language, the pending DEP and the TMP DOT requirement, and the the Portland Water District letters. And then, of course, they'll need updated plans and documents after approval, after they go through the DOT and DEP approval process as well. And then I would like to note on page 40, after going and writing through 70-something pages, I found an error on page 40 today with one of the findings. And the proposed finding is that they do meet the noise criteria.
Carol,
So on page-
where on the document is?
Page 40,
Yep.
But where?
if you look at the top of the page, third paragraph where it starts, the third-party review of noise by Barton LaJudas. Rather than say will not meet, it should say will meet.
Catch.
My last-minute correction. And with that, I turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Ironman. And Attorney Savitsky, Counsel, you have some comments that you need to address to the public.
To the board, actually.
Okay?
So,
We're the public too.
sure. Ms. Ironman mentioned that since the last meeting here, there was a separate meeting between the applicant and the DOT, the scoping meeting that she alluded to. So I was not present at that meeting, nor did I need to be. My understanding is several members of the public actually attended that meeting, including two members of the planning board, Mr. Walsh and Ms. Nichols. So just in the interest of transparency, Mr. Walsh, could you share what you learned at that meeting, any comments that you might have made, things of that nature?
Sure. The meeting, I was kind of curious what the whole process be about. I checked with Carol, see if it was appropriate that we could attend, and she indicated that it was. I just was not familiar with the TMP process to that level of depth, and just got a good briefing and understanding of it for future. I did echo some comments. I think Mr. Taylor was asking some questions or sharing some information, and I just added to that and echoed some things that I had on the record at our last meeting here in May. So nothing, there was nothing new revealed or stated or asked at that meeting.
Very good. Do you think you can still continue to review this current application fairly and impartially?
Actually, and better so, because I understand TMP is a heck of a lot more than I ever did before.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Ms. Nichols, same questions for you. Did you attend? What did you learn? And do you remember any comments that you might have made?
I did attend. I don't think I made any comments. I was impressed by the whole process. I thought the gentleman from, I think it was MDOT, who ran the meeting, did an excellent job in managing the group, because it was a large group of just community members, and then I actually thought we were supposed to go to the meeting to gather as much information as possible. It was more information. Did not change my way of looking at it. Actually, just was interesting to see how much more input, and even some community members made some great comments.
I think you might have already answered my follow-up question, but do you think you could still review the present application fairly and impartially moving forward?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks for your honesty and for participation. Ladies and gentlemen, moving along, we have the applicant and engineer project overview. Who wants to jump into the...
My name is Alex Escamilla. I'm with Blue Water Property Group. Many of you may have known Christina Bernardin. I'm taking her spot on this project. I'm the head of development at Blue Water. I've been watching this project closely as my role at Blue Water Up to Date, and have worked with Amazon on many successful projects throughout the Northeast since 2017. So as the town planner spoke, we submitted an updated application on June 20th or 22nd that included updated plans and responses to comments that were posed by this board, its peer reviewers, and the public. We believe we've been responsive to many of those comments and are think that there's a really great plan put in front of this board. We do want to hear more from you, make sure that we're addressing everything. We want to use the opportunity to hear that. But we think that we've put together a really responsive application. It's also been reviewed by the peer reviewers, the licensed engineers that work for the town. And if you want to pull up, or I can actually pull up this slide. This, as the town planner mentioned, these are the sort of highlights of the items that we addressed. The peer reviewer has reviewed those items and has made the recommendation that they be accepted. So in addition to the actual application updates, we've had meetings with residents to discuss buffering options, given the site constraints, given natural resource constraints, given safety, operational safety on the site, as well as just landscaping design and practical constructability issues. So we have responded to what we heard in that meeting, we hope, and would take this opportunity to speak with the board about, making sure we're meeting the standards, which we believe we do, as do the licensed engineers and professionals that have reviewed this. And then I'll turn it over to Sebago, who has been leading the charge from the engineering standpoint.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is Chris Taylor. I'm a professional engineer with Sebago Technics, representing the applicant tonight. As Carol mentioned, we've met with you guys a couple times already, presented the project. The focus of my presentation tonight is going to be mostly on the updates that have occurred to the plans and the proposed development since we were last in front of you guys in May. Jumping back a little bit. So little recap, keep it brief. The site is located off Main Street, Route 25 in the Gorham Industrial Park. It's a 94-acre parcel currently owned by the town of Gorham. And the parcel is divided by a large Portland Water District easement, kind of divides the east and west sides of the site located here. The proposal is for a 146,000 square foot warehouse, last mile distribution center. Development is clustered in the northern portion of the site, close to Main Street. Building and truck parking are located on the eastern portion of the site, while the van and package distribution vehicles are located on the western portion of the site. Since we've made the application, we've been in discussions with the town, and they are recommending a no-cut buffer along the southern portion of the property, kind of parallel to the Crosstown Trail, which is represented on the plan here, shown in red. Applicant is not opposed to that. We're willing to have a no-cut buffer, and we'll amend the plans to incorporate that for the final submission. This is the same plan, kind of zoomed in a little bit closer, focused on the development. Brief recap, there's 3 driveways, one for each vehicle type. The one on the right is used by large tractor trailer trucks, come in, unload packages. This one in the middle here is used by employees that are working inside the building. And then the one on the west side is for delivery vehicles and the drivers that operate those delivery vehicles. Updates to the plan include a sidewalk along Main Street from the western driveway here. It's located along the southern side of Main Street, crosses at a crosswalk across Shamrock Drive, and then another crosswalk across Main Street to the existing sidewalk at Gateway Common. That's what was shown on the plans. I know there's, and Carol kind of explained this to you, but staff is recommending that the sidewalk get extended, continue on the south side of Main Street, all the way down to Libby Avenue, where there's a signalized crossing. That would kind of prevent the mid-block crosswalk. So if that's staff's recommendation and the board's desire, the applicant's not opposed to installing the sidewalk all the way down to Libby Avenue. And I think that's a condition of approval in your packet. So just wanted to make that clear that we're not opposed to that. The other thing that has occurred with this site plan is that this van parking lot, the parking spaces have been reconfigured a little bit. There's actually a reduction in the number of parking spaces, but how it's been reconfigured is to eliminate some of the east-west dedicated walkways and incorporate more north-south ones to one centralized walkway here that goes east and west. What that allowed is more parking stalls that abut each other head-to-head. There was a comment of, is there an opportunity to design the parking lot to eliminate backup movements, eliminate the backup alarms? So this is our way of kind of addressing that, is trying to have more head-to-head parking spaces so that there's a potential, if the space is open, for a van to pull through an open parking space and go into the oncoming bay. That would eliminate the backup movement if that were to occur. The other benefit that this has is it's a more efficient layout for EV chargers. The applicant has designed kind of this lot for future EV chargers and be able to kind of plug and play those as much as possible. So this better accommodates that potential for conversion to EV chargers, which would also have less noise if compared to gas-powered delivery vehicles. This slide here is a rundown of the updates. Some of them we've already talked about: van parking lot configuration, as well as the pedestrian updates. The buffer updates, we'll go into more detail on the next slide, but the fence height has been increased from 6 feet to 10 feet. It's a different type of fence as well. It's a heavier fence that has more sound attenuation. There's been a berm that's been added on the west side of the property, an extension of a retaining wall to allow more landscaping, additional trees proposed, and some trees that are taller, more mature at planting as well. Lighting updates, we've proposed to, and we'll get into this, we'll have more slides on this, but proposed to reduce the height of the light poles along the western and northern sides of the van parking lot. There'll be additional shields added to the lights in the van parking lot, and they will also be have motion sensors so that they'll be on during active periods, and then the motion sensors will be active during non-operational times. Acoustical, this is just to basically state that the noise study has been updated and incorporates all these updates that have and plan changes that have occurred since the last submission and last time we were in front of the board. This plan here is a clip of the landscaping plan. All of the black circles represent trees that are to be planted on the site. And this is the van parking lot, the western side of the site. You can see the circles here around the perimeter of the site. There's some circles in the landscape islands. But this plans to try and highlight the changes and then the additional buffering that we're proposing as part of this development. So kind of starting on the right side of the page, working left, this blue line here, and then there's actually another blue line here that kind of overlap, but these are the two sides where the light poles are proposed to be lowered from 20 feet down to 15 feet, kind of closest to the abutting residence to the west. There's a light red line here where that's on top of the fence. That's just to highlight that the fence is where the fence is, as well as the increased height from that. The 10-foot height was selected to be taller than the typical delivery vehicle, which is about 9 feet tall, between 9 and 9.5 feet tall. So we went to 10, make sure it covers the top of the delivery vehicle for buffering purposes. This green area here, this is where a berm was added. Some additional grading. The berm is about 4 feet higher in elevation than the adjacent parking lot. This was the area that was available to add a berm, given the wetland setbacks and the location of the wetlands. This whole side of the site has been increased with trees, more dense planting. We're able to get in this area of the berm, there's basically 3 rows of trees that are proposed to kind of have a staggered and offset buffering effect. Next thing that was changed is this bright red line here. This is where the retaining wall was extended. This retaining wall is extended in an area where a 2-to-1 slope was previously proposed. And what that allowed is, instead of having a wider width of slope, that was narrowed down to a retaining wall, so we're able to make that grade change in a much shorter area. That allows the top of the retaining wall to be flat and to add additional trees. So that area where the retaining wall was extended is close to the wetlands. We weren't able to do the berm there, but by adding that retaining wall, we're able to get two rows of trees, screening trees, on top of the retaining wall. So you'll have the retaining wall on top of it, 2 rows of trees, then the fence behind it, and then the van parking lot behind that as well. And then on the far left side, adjacent to the western property line, we're showing some additional tree plantings in this area up here and this area down here. These were selected as really, this is kind of the most planting that we can do, given the wetland that is kind of along the western side of the site. This dash line represents the wetland, so there's a wetland area in here that we wouldn't be able to, the applicant's not allowed to plant in that area due to wetland restrictions. So we're trying to go to the western side of that wetland and plant as much trees as possible, basically. There are definitely pros and cons to these trees that are shown on the plans. In the long term, the buffer will be more significant as those trees grow in, but currently where those trees are proposed, there is the existing shrub that dominates the site, which is pretty thick shrubby bush material that's about 10 feet in height. Where those trees are proposed, that existing vegetation is going to have to be removed. So we are showing this on the plan. We want to kind of get the board's opinion on if that's beneficial or more detrimental to go in there and have that vegetation removed, but replace it with screening trees. We think that the vegetation proposed adjacent to the van parking lot, the updates to the lighting and the fence meet the buffer requirements that are in the ordinance, but we did want to propose some additional plantings along the western property line, which is shown on the plans. Sorry, let me jump back a little bit. The next two slides you're going to see are cross sections from between the van parking lot and the residence and the residential properties to the west. They're viewed in opposite of the plan view that you see here. So you're going to be looking from the north, looking down orientation wise. The first section that we're going to look at is 18 Shamrock Drive, which is right here. So you'll see a cross section through the retaining wall. The next section we'll show is the next house lot down, and we'll cut through the berm, so you'll get a chance to see that as well. So starting on the left, this is the van parking lot here. You can see the fence that is proposed. Down here is the retaining wall. Behind, kind of in the foreground, this is proposed trees, proposed landscaping. Down this low area down here is the existing vegetation. This green area marks out where the wetlands are. There's the existing vegetation here on the west side of the wetlands, as well as the existing vegetation to remain on the east side of the wetlands. This red line represents the property line between residential properties and the industrial site. And then this is kind of a representation of the existing house relatively to scale. This is at 18 Shamrock Drive, cross section through the retaining wall. And this next section is at 14 Shamrock Drive with viewing the cross section through the berm. You can see, starting on the left, we have the van parking lot. You can see the 10-foot privacy fence. Then we get into the berm area, how the grade raises up before it drops back down in grade. These are proposed plantings in that berm area. We've got the existing vegetation to remain in the wetlands, and then the house representation on the right side of the plan. Try to give you a perspective of the buffer through that section. This is an example image of the type of fence that is proposed. There's the fence height again is going to be 10 feet tall. This is a heavier weight fence than a typical vinyl fence, about double. It's 3 pounds per square foot instead of about 1.5 pounds per square foot. That's the extra weight is what provides that sound attenuation and kind of reduces sounds from one side to the other. There's different textures and colors that this fence comes in, but this is an example of what it could look like. This plan you've seen before. This is a photometric plan. This has been updated to reflect kind of the changes, that reduction in the to 15-foot pole heights along the western and northern sides of the van parking lot. There's a lot of color on this plan. The red and orange yellow represents areas of higher intensity light, which is located here underneath the canopy for the loading area. And then there's kind of the light green and yellow throughout the parking lot areas, which is a lesser light value. And then around the perimeter of the site, you have that darker blue or royal blue, which is indicating that there's much lower light values there around the perimeter of the site. Trying to show that the light is focused on the development areas, the pavement, the building, and parking areas. This is an image of what the light fixture looks like. This can be configured a couple different ways, but generally this is what the underside of the light fixture looks like. What I wanted to highlight is that these black, they're called shields that stick on, that get attached to the exterior of the light fixture. They stick down from the light fixture a couple of inches. This is basically additional shielding that has been added to the proposed plan to kind of cut back on the glare in the van parking lots. These will be added to the western side of the fixture. It's shown to the front of the fixture, but these can get added to either side, the left side, right side, the front, back, as they can be configured as you need them. So these shields that get added on will be applied to the light fixtures, actually stick down from the fixture, which is not common with today's LEDs. Other thing to note is that the applicant is proposing to add motion sensor lights in the van parking lot. I know that was kind of an ask and a request before, so those will be operational. The motion sensors will be active when there's not anticipated to be activity at the site to cut down on when those lights turn on. This plan is showing the site relative to the Crosstown Trail. Site's highlighted in red here. Crosstown Trail is highlighted in green. The applicant is proposing to make a contribution to the town in hopes that it gets used for the purpose of trail enhancements and trail connections. Town is proposing to install a trail, which is represented in orange here, that connects from the Crosstown Trail to the intersection of Main Street and Mosier Road. So that contribution could be kind of the seed money, start that, get design going, however it's best used. This would, if the trail gets installed, this would basically have connections to the east and west of the site from the Crosstown Trail up to Main Street using existing trails, trail to be connected and the existing road network. So that contribution is kind of in lieu of building a trail on the site, rather than going through an industrial park and industrial facility, try to use some of the open space that's available to the east and west. This plan here shows the wetland resources that are across the site. Wetlands are shown in green. There's some streams that are shown in blue. Proposed development up to the north. The proposed wetland impacts are shown in red. There's about 0.8 acres of wetland impact proposed as part of this project. The next few slides, you'll see similar image, similar coloring, but we're going to use this as a kind of a baseline to compare to exhibits that were submitted showing possible relocation of some of the van parking lot, as well as a driveway connection to the south to Sear Drive. So I wanted to use this kind of as a baseline reference of what's proposed. This plan is showing a portion of the parking spaces in the van parking lot, 10% of them approximately relocated from the western side of the site to the eastern side of the site. So this is the van parking lot, kind of highlighted in the yellow or light orange, showing that this was changed. Approximately 50, 60 parking spaces from that parking lot were moved to this location here to the eastern side of the site. I just want to highlight, this is not proposed as an exhibit. This is a study that we're conducting. What that does is it increases the buffer, the distance between the van parking lot and the western property line by 50 feet, from 150 feet to 200 feet, but does result in more wetland impacts. And so this, because of those wetland impacts, we don't think this is an alternative that would be accepted by the DOT or the Army Corps due to those additional wetland impacts. This next exhibit here, this is relocating about 50% of the parking spaces in the van parking lot from the western side of the site to the eastern side of the site. Much more wetland impacts associated with that. You get over an acre of additional wetland impacts. The distance between the parking lot on the west and the western property line increases to 350 feet. We did update the stormwater basins in concept. You'll notice on the last one, the stormwater basin is located down here, that the size has been reduced and relocated because you've got fewer parking spaces on the west side. On the east side, this has been lowered, brought to the south and east a little bit more, and has increased in size, which also kind of contributes to the additional wetland impacts. But it is, that has to capture, detain, treat runoff from the additional impervious area from this side over here. This plan here is showing a conceptual driveway connection to Sear Drive. There's basically one location on the southern portion of the site where the connection can be made due to existing property lines. So this location here is a location where the driveway wouldn't go onto abutting private property or abutting lots. It would just cross a crosstown trail and then have access to Sear Drive frontage. This does result in some additional wetland impacts on the southern portion of the site, which is closer to the vernal pools and more sensitive resources. This path here also kind of directs more of the traffic closer to the western side of the site, closer to the residences. We did look at options to get this road to the eastern side of the site. That would require crossing the Portland Water District easement again. They're not in favor of that. We've limited the crossing from one east side to west side to one location for vehicles. So to do this would require, if we altered the path of this driveway connection down to Sear Drive, that would require a second one. I don't think the Portland Water District would be in favor of that. It would also either impact a stream, have a stream crossing, or result in more wetland impacts if we did have that driveway connection to the eastern side of the site. Another less ideal situation with this is that this would have a driveway across a dedicated trail. So right now, Crosstown Trail has a pretty long trail that doesn't have very many road crossings. If we add this driveway, now we have more vehicles crossing that pedestrian path, also used by snowmobiles in the wintertime. So potential safety hazard there in that regard. This plan here, sorry, back up a little bit. We submitted a lot of operational data with the submission. In the cover letter that we provided, there was kind of a breakdown, a narrative of how this facility operates. There was kind of a time breakdown of when shifts were, when employees arriving, departing, as well as two links, one to a video that kind of explains, or it was a video of a similar facility, a last mile facility, of how that operates. There's also a link to an article of a kind of a day in the life of one of the employees that is a dispatcher for the delivery vans, of how their day operates. So you kind of get to see some pictures inside of the facility, and it kind of provides their hourly breakdown as well. This slide here is trying to provide a brief overview of the operations and kind of the schedule of which driveways are active, which sides of the site are active, and when shifts are coming and going. On the right side, this is kind of the eastern entrance that's used by the trucks, large tractor trailers, line hauls. Most of those vehicles come in early morning hours between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m., but there are periodic deliveries outside that window. The middle driveway is used by associates working inside the building. There's 2 primary shifts. First shift starts at 3:30 a.m. approximately and goes till about 9 o'clock. That's when shift turnover is. Second shift starts at 9 o'clock, so that 9:30 time period is a busy period where vehicles are, you have employees leaving and employees coming in. There's also a third shift that is not conducted every day. It's only during peak hours. That's kind of that's an overnight shift. That's from 10:30 to 4 a.m. Sorry to jump back a little, but that second shift ends at 12:30 approximately. And then on the western side of the site, this is where the vans arrive and depart from, as well as the drivers of those vans. Vans are scheduled to drivers are scheduled to come in, and vans are departing generally in the 10 a.m. to noon window. And then those vans are expected back 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. kind of time frame. So we do say this is a 24-hour facility, but there are definitely periods which have lower activity. There's portions of the site have lower activity, and then there's times when there's a lot of activity in portions of those sites. So hopefully this provides somewhat of a breakdown of that. I did want to highlight that this table here, this is basically the projected trips, every trip that's projected. This comes from Amazon's they call it the operational clock. This has been submitted. This is included in the TMP application, the 1 through 6 application. That whole TMP application was included in the site plan application. So this is in the submitted material, but this is where all of that kind of time breakdown, when people are arriving and departing. This table gets confusing if you're not used to looking at it. So that's why we tried to, provide a more simple, when are the shifts, when are people coming and going, from which window. So I don't expect you to know this or really understand it, but this is where it comes from. Wanted to also provide an update on the noise. The Osegard Acoustical Consultants was hired by the applicant, and they provided an updated noise study, which incorporated basically all the design changes, plan changes that we just talked about, the fence height, for the most part, and just getting the vehicle trips updated that was noted previously. So the noise studies are updated to reflect the changes. And the project previously complied with the noise regulations, but the updates that were made to the design enhanced the modeling conservatism and provided more robust mitigation. We did want to note that BNL has reviewed the noise study. And as Carol had mentioned, they didn't find any issues with, they kind of agreed with the results of the noise study and agreed that it complies with the town ordinances. I just want to highlight that we are proposing a 10-foot tall fence. That was updated in the noise study from the 6 feet, meeting local and state guidelines. And then some more information on the backup alarms. This was provided in the packet as well. But Amazon's standard backup alarm is a smart broadband alarm. The broadband means that it produces what's referred to as a shush sound rather than a tonal beep sound. That's been, sound experts have looked at that and found it to be less intrusive, less kind of glaring, but still meeting those safety requirements. The smart alarm piece of it refers to that there's an ambient noise sensor on the vans that they kind of detect how much ambient noise there is. So during quieter periods, that alarm doesn't need to be as loud as during louder times of the day. So if there's other vehicles around and kind of commotion, then that alarm will adjust as needed to meet the safety standards. But if you have one van coming in, pretty quiet site, then that backup alarm will be at a quieter level. These are the previous exhibits representing the noise levels as they kind of disperse across the site. These are the same kind of color renders as previously shown, but they've been updated to incorporate the fence and the current design. This one is modeling the HVAC equipment on top of the roof. And you can see sound receptors A through D kind of on the west and northwest sides of the site. And in the bottom left corner here, those are their resultant noise levels as part of the study. So this one's for the mechanical equipment on the building. This one is representing kind of the busiest time of the site, where traffic is, vans are coming and going, employees are coming and going from the site. The number of vehicles modeled on here has been updated to reflect and match with the traffic report and those DOT trip generations. Again, there's this one's for kind of a truck in the truck yard. There's two locations for the truck, one towards the front of the truck with the resultant sound receptors as it moves across the site. And then this is a truck in the southern portion of the site. So pretty similar to what was proposed previously, just been updated and updated to incorporate current design and comply with ordinances and the DOT trip levels. A quick update on the permits. As Carol mentioned, we had the traffic scoping meeting with the Maine DOT. We are in the process of drafting the traffic study and anticipate submitting that back to the DOT by the end of the month. Maine DEP has been submitted for a while now. We've received some comments from DEP staff. We'll respond to those. So it's ongoing and moving in the right direction. Federal permits, we've been in coordination with Army Corps of Engineers. They were recently out at the site looking at the wetlands to determine if they're jurisdictional or not for the Army Corps. And we do anticipate a provisional approval of the Army Corps permit here in next few weeks. And with that, that kind of concludes the update, but we're definitely available for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Before we get in, I've got a sort of a unit visual thing on my screen that I can't get rid of. It doesn't appear to be a touch screen. I hit confirm, and so maybe we need help from upstairs.
Do you a brief recess? Or just...
I don't know what's required.
Can you come down and take a peek? Thank you. Okay, we'll proceed.
You may proceed. It's about the size of a 2 playing cards, so it's not totally.
Any chance maybe you go to a different monitor?
Well, I've been using Dave's.
You might owe him a beverage at the end of the evening.
Dave fixed it.
Well, what do you know?
The
What do you know?
magician.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. So I have a few ideas here. You all remember our last meeting, and it went pretty late, and we are not going to do that this evening. We are going to have a hard stop at 10 p.m. because some of the members here have obligations very early tomorrow morning, and it's not fair to anybody. Number two, it's my opinion and I certainly look to my left and to my right, and maybe council, I would like to hear from people who we have not heard from. We don't have a sign-in sheet this time, but I would like to hear from people that we have not heard from. Everyone is eligible to speak. I don't have a time.
We do have a sign-in sheet. We do. What we would like people to do is, if you have not signed in and you would like to provide public comment, please sign in so that we can determine how many people there are and how long each person will be allowed to speak. That's what that means, sorry.
Yeah, my English was, will you grab the sign-in sheet? And I thought you said no. Okay, so we do have one.
We
You
just
said
wanted
no,
to make
we-
sure you told people to sign the sign-in
Oh, here I
sheet.
am. All right, so we do have a sign-in sheet. Again, we'd like to, we also have many questions. I have gone through mine. I have pages and pages of questions. We want to hear from everybody. I will go out on a limb and say we will not make a decision on this evening. It's my own opinion. That's what I'm stating right now at 10 minutes of 8 and a hard stop in 2 hours and 10 minutes, and we haven't heard from anybody yet, so. Again, for those of you that have shared your thoughts, if you could maybe let someone else speak. I certainly want to respect and hear everybody, but again, it's a hard stop at maybe 9 because we want to be able to deliberate and ask all kinds of questions.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Please.
Can I recommend,
Please.
while we're waiting for the sign-in sheet to be filled out, that we maybe have the board ask some questions of the staff or the applicant while we're waiting?
Yeah.
Thank you, Colonel. Yes.
Mr. Chair, and I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but in terms of public input, I would be very interested in hearing input on the latest changes that have been proposed. In particular, the last time through, it sounds like the applicant has made an effort to address some of the concerns that were brought up by the public last time, and particularly with Shamrock Drive. So I'd really be interested in hearing from some of those people about some of the specific things that were changed since the last time around.
Sure thing. I'm in favor of all of it. I'm just looking at the clock tick, 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 for all of us respectfully. Because believe it or not, I have a few things I want to say. And I have that all marked out already. We're waiting for the sign-in sheet. Is there a chance that we could grab one sheet and start filling out a second sheet? Project manager.
Thank you, Damon.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the staff.
Please.
There were several proposed motions included in the back of the packet. Is there an expectation that there's a vote tonight?
There is no expectation. We are waiting for the conversation and the questions. There's no expectation that there will be an affirmative anything tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have a sign-in sheet here. What we had been doing several months ago was we were asking people, whatever the project was, if you were in favor of the project, to please speak first. Then we were going to have the people that were against the project speak second, and then those people who are neutral. This particular sheet is only has a few people that are neutral and a few people that are against. So, guidelines,
Just
please.
start.
Start, okay. We ready to go? right.
Mr. Chair, what would you
Please.
like the time limit to be set to?
If I said 30 seconds, I'd be hung out to dry. No, please, I sincerely respect and want to hear everyone's opinions. We have a lot of changes. I'm going to say a few ideas this evening, which will add some changes. But let's kick it off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Colin Hull, please. Are you here, Colin Hull? Please. Let me hold on. I got to think about this. Counselor?
I think 3 minutes is.
No, you wanted 3 minutes last time. We're not doing 3 minutes this time. Only because it's a hard 10 o'clock stop.
2 minutes.
2 minutes? 2 minutes? So looking to my left? 2 minutes. Go. Go.
Oh, you said go. Okay. My name is Colin Hull. I'm an attorney. Speaking on behalf of Gorham United, I would point you to our previous submissions to the board that identify a number of deficiencies with the letters, or with this application, but I would like to specifically make 2 points this evening. First, Amazon continues to ask the board to approve a project based on incomplete information. That is not how the site plan review process works. The burden rests on Amazon to prove every applicable ordinance standard has been satisfied before an approval is made. The board should not assume that future studies and analysis related to traffic and environmental impacts will support a finding that is potentially made today. Amazon has argued that the board should proceed without waiting for the Department of Transportation's review. But the issue is not whether the board must wait for a state permit. The issue is whether the board has enough reliable information to make the findings that Gorham's ordinances require. Based on a discussion at the DOT scoping meeting, the traffic component of the application is not yet complete. DOT has required a full Section 7 traffic study, requested that impacts be evaluated beyond the original study area, and asked for additional accident data and analysis extending to the exit 47 on the main turnpike. Significant questions remain unanswered concerning mitigation, pedestrian safety, levels of service, and who will ultimately pay for the necessary improvements. At this point, Amazon is committed to very little meaningful mitigation beyond a single turning lane. Without that information, the board cannot confidently determine whether the traffic performance standards in the ordinances have been met. Second, Amazon has not demonstrated compliance with the town's utilization standards. The ordinance requires environmentally sensitive resources to be preserved to the maximum extent. If Amazon intends to represent that it has satisfied this standard, then the application must affirmatively demonstrate why each proposed impact is not avoidable.
Thank you.
It has not done so.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Kimber Cross, please. Kimber Cross?
Take me 2 minutes to walk up.
We won't start till you get there.
My qualifications are Kimber Cross of Shaws Mill Road. I'm 80 years old and I'm a wife of a farmer. I'm here because I strongly oppose the current Amazon distribution facility here, and I'm going to talk about it in terms of additional traffic and what we have to do. We have to look at Chapter 6 of our comprehensive plan in order to meet the town plan, in order to meet the high standards of design and site layout so that they remain positive additions to our community. So I want to make 4 points here. No single company in Gorham, Westbrook, or Portland, and in fact, no single company in the entire state of Maine has reached 3,000 daily commercial vehicle entrants and exits, except for the proposed Amazon distribution. Additionally, Gorham is now experiencing a major housing increase in 2026 and 27 with approximately 1,600 new residential units, creating increased commuting traffic. Due to the congestion, the MDOT is currently studying in its Portland West survey with results looking at roadways that need to be used and improved to help commuting transportation. In addition, there's the BRT, Bus Rapid Transit Survey. And that one is for additional assistance in terms of the roads and commuting. So commuting is important, but these other two things, they have done surveys. The town of Gorham's Parks and Recreation came out with a positive survey to its employees. So what I am recommending is that hasn't had, the population of Gorham has not been approached in terms of any surveys. It's an important concept. And what I'm asking you to do is, I'm asking you to be bold, remind yourself of the Gorham Comprehensive Plan, and ask for a Gorham citizen vote. You haven't involved our citizens. I'm asking for an entire Gorham citizen vote to reject the Gorham Amazon facility. If Parks and Recreation can do it on something much smaller, and it was wonderful, you can do it too.
Thank you.
You can make it.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please. We want to move this along. Thank you.
2 minutes for me to get back.
Mr. McHugh, Joe McHugh. Joe McHugh.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and efforts. I've been a resident here for 5 years, so I don't have a big stake in this town. I live here now. I'm 81. This is the last place I'm probably going to live. I have seen many different environments in this country. I grew up in suburban New Jersey, central Jersey, saw it ruined by overexpansion. Lived in Manhattan for a long time in business, traveled the country widely. Saw this problem that we're facing here in many, many locations, where I would visit a town 1 year, come back 5 years, and would be almost unlivable. That's what we are facing now here in Gorham. I moved here for quality of life. This will not result in the betterment of our quality of life.
Mr. McHugh.
My main concern...
Mr. McHugh, please address the planning board. Thank you. Please
repeat?
Please address the planning board. It's...
Okay. The reason I really object is the amount of traffic. I'm not faulting the efforts of Amazon to try to mitigate their impact upon the community and their planning. It's just the wrong project in the wrong place in the wrong town. This town has a certain ambience that is priceless. You're not going to find it in many places in the country. I've been there. I've looked. I've been in Maine for almost 40 years now, but I have seen the rest of the country. I have seen urbanization. I have seen suburban sprawl. You wouldn't, if you are familiar with Maine and like Maine, you are not going to like the results of this industrialization of Gorham. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara DeVoe, please. Barbara DeVoe.
I have to edit this. I'm actually representing one of our neighbors because she couldn't be here today because she was so upset about this project. She was not able to communicate her concerns, so I'm going to do that for her. I live on Shamrock Drive. So she has said that she agrees that the zoning is industrial. The zoning alone does not answer the ordinance review criteria before tonight. If it did, the process would have ended months ago. Your responsibility is to determine whether this proposal on this parcel satisfies those criteria, whether the evidence supports the findings of fact, and for you to adopt this. Many of those findings require you to make predictions about future conditions. They require you to conclude this project will remain compatible with the surrounding neighborhood because the proposed mitigation measures will perform as intended over a long period of time. The question is not whether mitigation has been proposed. The question is whether evidence provides a sufficient basis for those conclusions. Every revision has added another layer of mitigation. Lighting has been modified, noise walls added, landscaping has been expanded, operational commitments have been made. She appreciates that. But they also lead me to one other question. Is this parcel naturally suited for this project of this magnitude, or is the parcel being asked to fit the project? This isn't criticism. It's a planning question. As someone who lives directly adjacent to the property, she can tell you leaf-off conditions will change the buffering capabilities here. This neighborhood already exists with families and children who enjoy living here. Again, she's not asking for you to predict future with certainty. She's asking that you evaluate the ordinance review criteria, consider the findings of fact, and ask yourselves one simple question. Does the evidence of the record provide sufficient basis to make this finding? If yes, then your finding should reflect that in confidence. But there are findings that rely on assumptions and uncertainties that have not been fully addressed, as many of you have already identified. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burley, Dana Burley, am I saying that correctly? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you folks tonight. My name is Dana Burley. I've been here for 19 years in Gorham. For context, my background is in logistics, including over the road and intermodal transportation, warehousing, and final delivery. So I do have an understanding of how these things work, and I've worked with Amazon before. So, while I have the chance, I also want to acknowledge Alex and Chris for entertaining us and giving us some time to discuss our concerns around mitigation for our valuable properties. This was time we were afforded an opportunity to sit down for the first time. No one has given us that opportunity before. So, to the Planning Board, I'm asking you to all consider 3 questions as you continue your evaluation of this project. Number 1, why would Amazon want a large-scale final mile distribution facility 5 miles from the interstate with 11 traffic signals between the project and 95, adjacent to a residential neighborhood with close to 100 homes, while running through multiple towns, past schools, churches, public safety buildings on an already congested main street? I hope you've done your due diligence pertaining to the safety statistics associated with these facilities, most of which are in much more suitable locations. Number 2, do you truly believe that the ordinances in place relative to noise, air, water, lighting, buffering, et cetera, were written with a 24/7, 365 high-velocity business complex in mind and adjacent to residential neighborhoods? Number 3, does this project enhance the quality of life in our community? We heard the gentleman talk about this before, and align with goals outlined by the Town Council to preserve the character of the town and support economic development that maintains and improves our rural and village character? Please take the necessary time to effectively answer these questions. As the saying goes, once the train has left the station, or more appropriately, once that first tractor trailer rolls into town overnight, or that first delivery vehicle turns onto Main Street, there's no going back. We made a horrible decision as a town when we bought this land, and I think a lot of people recognize that. And then we were all intentionally kept in the dark when the land was sold to Amazon. Let's not exacerbate things by making a decision that will have substantial influence on the way of life for our lives for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, Ann Bilodeau.
Thank you. I'm Ann Bilodeau, and I live on Shamrock Drive. Very pleased to hear tonight that you don't anticipate taking a vote. That was what I was primarily going to get up here and encourage you not to vote on this plan yet tonight. I think without a DOT permit and without a DEP permit, it wouldn't make sense for you to approve much. And beyond that, I want to say too that it seems to me the town staff and the town council are conflicted or contradicting themselves over this land. They voted to sell to Amazon, and their plan is to build this huge 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week facility And in this month's town council meeting, they presented an open space plan that shows the majority of this parcel of land to be endangered, threatened, or of special concern. And they say that they're not going to disrupt many of the wetlands, but by blasting to put in a parking lot, they're disrupting wetlands, not just where they're building their warehouse where their diagram showed. So I just want to say, take your time. This is a huge decision. The town has never been faced with a land use decision like this one in its past. This affects more than just Shamrock Drive. It affects the whole town. The traffic is going to be horrific. The pollution is going to be horrific. The safety is down the drain. Thank you.
Thank you. I've served on the school committee and I've served on the town council. It is inappropriate to be clapping in an audience. Any members of the town council that are in here will tell you the same thing. So please refrain. Thank you. Tyler Stanley.
Hi there. Thanks for letting me speak. I just wanted to say I was concerned about traffic safety, the effect on surrounding communities, and the environmental impact. And just commenting on the presentation, I question whether a crosswalk on Route 25 is a good idea. It's a really busy road. It seems sort of like putting a crosswalk on I-95. And then my other thought on the van parking lot is if an increase in the fence from 6 feet to 10 feet makes a substantial difference, then the parking lot itself is just way too close to the neighborhood. And then I can see from the presentation as well that if you move the parking lot, it makes a substantial impact on the environmental impact, and if you leave it where it is, it's a huge impact on the neighboring community. So maybe just the project is too big for the space. And then my other question is I'm not sure on the traffic study if anyone is looking at where people who work at Amazon are coming from. Are they living in Gorham? Are they coming through surrounding communities? And what kind of impact does that actually have? Thanks.
Thank you. Emily Johnson, please. Emily Johnson.
My name is Emily Johnson, and I live on Flaggy Meadow Road. I am here tonight to ask you to not rush through the approval process for this application. Gorham has never seen an operation this large, and I'm concerned that its current ordinances and standards are not adequate to address a project of this scale. In addition, the ongoing reviews by both the DEP and DOT could result in significant changes to the project. Until the findings are published, it doesn't make sense to move forward. The traffic congestion, pedestrian, bicyclist, and vehicle safety, wetland protection, noise, light, and air pollution all need to be meticulously considered further than just relying on data provided by hired Amazon consultants, which present an obvious conflict of interest. The planning board needs to put the safety and quality of life of its own community above the conveniences of Amazon. This facility is amongst densely packed residential areas, already congested streets, pedestrian and bicycle traffic. Just a few of the non-negotiable requirements that should be made include ample sidewalks and covered bus stops on both sides of the street, multiple crosswalks with lighted beacons, improved trail access to the Crosstown Trail and the Claire Drew Trail that connect to the nearby elementary school, and designated protected bike lanes. Over the last few months, I've read Gorham's comprehensive plan, its land use objectives, and its new open space plan. And this Amazon development contradicts dozens of community goals laid out in those plans. I've also seen hundreds of residents speak out against this development over the course of many town council meetings and planning board meetings, while only a small handful express approval. It would be reckless to move forward without serious consideration of the voice of our community. Please slow down the process until more is understood about the impact of one of the largest corporations in the world gaining a foothold in our town. Thanks.
Thank you. I apologize. It looks like Kristen Lahair. Would you last name when you get there, please?
Good evening. My name is Kristen Lehman, and I live on Shamrock Drive.
Thank you.
I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about just tax relief. It's a topic that's been brought up in the past. We have Gorham residents who have been in support of the Amazon project, believing that it'll bring substantial tax relief. Those opposed do not believe a shell warehouse and large parking lot will generate the tax revenue Gorham residents expect. In several meetings to date, the issue has been raised and information requested on this topic. Amazon claims their project will bring high-paying jobs and tax relief. To date, residents have yet to see an estimated tax relief per household, and I'm asking why. Is this figure so small that it'll increase concern? Many believe this project will require the increase in public safety departments' needs moving forward. If these are needed, tax relief will become an increase in tax burden. The planning board is being asked tonight to pause, wait for the DOT and DEP permitting recommendations before approving this project. We can't further compromise our town. We've already discussed health, general safety, transportation. This is just another added layer, and we're just, again, asking you to pause and think about the global effect of a project this large. Thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn, I apologize. I can't read the last. I see my time to thank my neighbors for their help. Thank you for that courtesy. Thank you. We should clap for that. Shelby Layton, please. Shelby Layton. Allison Rimkunis, please. Allison Rimkunis.
I live on 413 Moja Road and deal with the trucks constantly going past my house until last night at 11:15 with their Jake brakes. Is there anything in place for the trucks that are coming from Amazon down to the Moja's Corner and the noise they're going to make with their engines? I haven't heard anything about that yet. Thanks.
Thank you. I didn't even start my timer.
She's too quick for you.
She's quick. Thank you. Catherine Atwood, please. Catherine Atwood.
I'm going to speak quickly to fit this all in.
2 minutes.
Oh boy, I do represent a coalition of environmental organizations, and I would recommend that it might be valuable to listen to me. I'm a Gorham resident and a board member of the Friends of the Presumpscot River. I appreciate the attempts to talk about wetlands tonight. We heard that word come up a lot because there's a lot of wetlands on this parcel. And this has not been resolved, not even close. I find it really interesting that so much time was spent in this application material going over the definition of the wetland and the town ordinances, a page or more, and it completely omits Part B of the definition of a wetland for the town of Gorham. You're being asked tonight to enforce the town of Gorham's ordinances, not the DEP. The DEP understands this is a serious risk. There's grave concerns with this application. They're hosting a public meeting on Wednesday to address that. The town of Gorham ordinance says that a land inclusion or a stream crossing does not separate wetland complexes. They remain connected. Thus, it meets the threshold of the protection subdistrict that you're required to enforce as part of the ordinances. The town's own engineer, Wright, Pierce, Wright, whatever they are, has recommended that you enlist a third-party wetland scientist. That has been ignored at this point. It's the paid consultant of the town. And there's also very serious concerns as were raised about the open spaces plan, how you plan to reconcile that the same town staff who prepared the materials for this last week presented to the town a document that shows 2 parcels in the entire town as endangered habitat. And one of them is this parcel. The boundary is Shamrock Drive and just below the quarry. I'm very concerned about the discrepancy that's happening here and what's being presented. I also wanted to let you know that I spoke to a PhD professor emeritus of geology who's reviewed this plan and raised some very serious concerns. The soil report at the end of it, one, it was taken from several years ago and is not current. And it recommends that a geotechnical engineer review this plan because of the formation of the clay that is here. This is the divide of 2 watersheds. It's the Presumpscot River watershed and the Stroudwater River. You have a very serious landslide risk happening on this parcel, and I recommend that it's being taken seriously and questions of if this is suitable. But we appreciate your delay tonight. I will provide a long letter outlining these concerns for the town after the meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
7 Siegel, please.
Hello, members of the Planning Board, Chair Hager. Thank you very much. As you all know, I'm a member of the Town Council, but
You're here as a council member or as a citizen?
But I am speaking on behalf of myself tonight and as an abutter, as my address is 238 Main Street. I live directly down the street from this. There are many, many concerns I have with this project, obviously, but the biggest one relates to noise. Our own noise ordinances are based off of an average of 8 hours. That means that you can have some really loud stuff and then some quiet, and then suddenly it averages out to being okay. Obviously, there's issues with that at the ordinance itself, but as planning board members, I would just really, really encourage you when you hear, oh, it will pass Gorham's ordinance, that is just not helpful. I mean, just think of the amount of abutters that we have with the loud industrial businesses happening now and the issues they have, and those are short bursts of sound. So please make sure that this goes above and beyond just being under a certain decibel level for an 8-hour average. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I apologize. Carol, I'm sorry? Okay, thank you. I apologize. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Carol Molker of Lawn Avenue. Amazon's project should not be approved because there's so much evidence that it will hurt our environment and that there won't be any enforcement of our laws or permit conditions. Public records show that Amazon hurts our environment with massive carbon emissions from their vans, which will mostly not be EVs, plus hundreds of millions of pounds of Amazon's plastic packaging ends up in our landfills and ocean. Plus, they destroy millions of their unsold products, adding to the massive waste from their facilities. Amazon would be an environmental catastrophe for Gorham. Who will enforce our laws and permit conditions when Amazon violates them? In this town, the answer is nobody. Amazon says, quote, after construction, the owner shall inspect and maintain drainage structures according to all requirements of the approved stormwater management plan, end quote. This is the same promise made by all developers because our law requires it. The developer who flooded and polluted my neighborhood made the same promise in their plans 10 years ago in order to get their plan approved. But once it was approved, they broke the law continuously up until today. As of today, the 2016 Snowbird stormwater facilities have still never been inspected or maintained. So, since there's no enforcement, why would Amazon bother to comply with your laws or permit conditions? Non-compliance is cheaper, so of course they won't. Clearly, this project should not be approved, but if you believe we're wrong about that, if you believe Amazon won't hurt our environment and that all of your laws and permit conditions will be enforced, then we need to hear that from you. We need a town hall style public meeting where we can get all of our questions answered by you, because this format here is just like talking to a brick wall.
Thank you. Grace Farrington, please. Grace Farrington.
Hello, everyone. My name's Grace. I'm 28 years old and possibly one of the youngest people in this room tonight. I'm a resident of Gorham. I grew up in Sebago. My family has been in Western Maine for generations, and I'm very proud to be from here. It has been my personal choice to boycott Amazon since before the pandemic, and it can be done. I feel lighter knowing my hard-earned money is no longer enabling the greed and accumulation of wealth that corporate giants like Amazon practice and perpetuate. I rest easy knowing my money no longer funds their exploitation of the precious natural world, of our infrastructure, of our culture, and of course the exploitation of the hardworking individuals that sacrifice their bodies every day to survive and feed their families.
I'm not trying to shut you down. You're supposed to be addressing the planning board.
So if it isn't obvious, I am fiercely against allowing Amazon to own even a square inch of this state, let alone the impactful piece of land miles away from where I place my head at night. Council members, it is so important in this political moment that your constituents feel that you hear us and you see our side and you side with us instead of playing into the hands of people that know nothing of Maine and expect that know nothing of Maine except what they intend to take for their own gain. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Littlefield, please. Michelle?
Good evening, Michelle Littlefield. I'm Vice Chair of the School Board and Co-Chair of Gorham's Fiscal Sustainability Committee. Thank you for giving me the time to speak, though it is my right, because this is my livelihood at stake and these people's lives. I'm concerned about noise still. To me, the report was insufficient. It was sloppy. Will versus will not, that's a pretty big mistake when it comes to meeting or not meeting an ordinance. So I'd ask that you confirm that the daytime decibel limits are met. It's pretty clear that the nighttime is written as met, but it's not clear to me that daytime limits are met. It was very alarming to be sitting at a town meeting and see the report that others have mentioned that that land in this parcel came up in the Conservation Commission as protected. I'd ask you to address that issue. It's not acceptable. I also would like to call out that tonight we learned that one of the biggest shift changes is going to happen right at the time that elementary school begins less than 1 mile up the road. So what are the plans for safety, for taking care of our kids, for taking care of that part of our road? Because those will be questions that I will have to answer because we can't even afford a crossing guard. I also would like to just give a little bit of feedback as a person who did sit here until almost 11:30 p.m. You heard an overwhelming part of our community opposed to this development. And then we sat here and watched you rubber stamp 2 waivers, giving very little feedback as to why. Why was it allowed that they got extra curb cuts? Did that make us safer? Is it better? Why was that allowed? So as you're going through this process and you are making decisions, please give us your reasoning behind just your yes or your no. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Trombley. Josh Trombley?
Hello, I live at Little River Drive here in Gorham, and today I'm going to talk specifically about stormwater runoff. I don't think we've been talking about it enough. It's related to the wetland concerns. I have some significant concerns. Our code requires that all natural drainage ways will be preserved at their natural gradients and will not be filled or converted to a closed system. If any of the 4 streams on this parcel are culverted, rerouted, or converted to a closed system, planning board approval is required, and this is not addressed in the application. I have walked the property. There's water flowing all through there. I don't think that the maps that we've seen really reflect that. I think we need an independent survey to confirm that where they're putting their parking lot, there's water flowing through there. That's a big deal as far as this code is concerned. Gorham's municipal code further requires that biological and chemical properties of the receiving waters will not be degraded. I see nothing in the application materials to suggest that Amazon will take adequate steps to ensure that gasoline, motor oil, and other contaminants don't run into nearby streams, wetlands, and protected vernal pools. The application does not adequately address Gorham's stormwater ordinance. And this is part of a broader pattern, as we've seen, they've made some small changes, but I think the point that I think everyone is bringing up over and over that I want to reiterate is that these small mitigations are not adequate and don't address the major issues where this application does not meet town code. So I'd encourage you to deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy begins with an R. Rollo? Rollo by any chance? Nancy Rollo? Is that it, please?
Nancy Rollo, I am at Ridgefield Drive, and I would like to address the fact that if you remove all the scrub brush to put trees in, you are going to destroy habitat, and the trees, the root systems of the trees are not going to prevent
the same ability of runoff to protect our vernal pools and our water systems that are on that area. That's one of my biggest concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen Arnold, please. Stephen Arnold?
Thank you, Board. My name's Stephen Arnold, lived at Libby Avenue since 1989, 37 years. I've seen a lot of changes along Libby Avenue. A lot of them I've been okay with, some I haven't been okay with, but I have never seen anything even close to the magnitude of this. It does not fit neighborhood character, it does not fit transportation, it does not fit natural resources, and I support everyone who's brought those points up. But what I want to really ask is why this parcel in Gorham? 5 miles to exit 47 is the closest access to an interstate. 6 miles to exit 46 from the interstate, 7 to 8 miles to exit 45, 8 to 10, depending on the route you take, to exit 42 down by Cabela's to get to the interstate. As the transportation gentleman said earlier, this doesn't quite make sense. FedEx is building a brand new distribution facility in the old Beach Ridge Speedway development area, a little over a mile from the interstate. Our U.S. Postal Service major processing center in South Portland is right next to a spur to the interstate, along with the Portland Air Freight Distribution Center. There are locations, Beach Ridge, Scarborough Downs, Haggis Parkway, Rock Row, and others that are very close to interstate spurs and transportation. Why put it in Gorham? What's the attractiveness of this site with all these impacts? Is it price? Is it location next to a substation, next to a battery storage facility? What is it that makes this so attractive to Amazon? I ask you to ponder that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Emerson, please. Mary Emerson.
Good evening. I'm Mary Emerson. I live on Sebago Lake Road. I'm going to skip a little bit of what I was going to say. Suggest one thing, that you have somebody on deck. That might save you some of your precious time. And I also want to take issue with the way that these lovely people are being treated tonight by getting yelled at about applauding and other things, tone of voice, jumping down Seven's throat before he even had a chance to say that he was here on his own. I'm addressing the planning board about this, and I just want to point out that most of these people don't attend regular meetings. They have been brought to make this difficult thing, like for me, speaking, just because of the immense potential for damage by Amazon. And they deserve to be treated very respectfully, not yelled at if they applaud. I'm sorry, some of them might not know that we don't yell, we don't applaud. I always have to be on a script, but I just have to go off my script to say that. And that's having told you once before that I appreciate your time and effort. But I just think that's important to remember that we're all citizens of the same town. I've lived here all my life, as my parents did and my grandparents. I've never bought anything from Amazon. I just reject the whole concept of Amazon. And I just want to say briefly what I had planned. This started with non-disclosure agreements, lack of public notice, and overall secrecy. It's been full of red flags to me from the start. It's been clear that Little Gorham's no match for the big power and money of the largest corporation in the country. but we have ordinances and standards, and I thought that was good enough. And then there were special exceptions given for 3 cuts instead of 1 onto Main Street, but the 3,000 vehicles estimated to come out of there every day. I won't take any more time. I just so appreciate what these townspeople have done, their efforts and the points that they've made. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all of the write-in people that are against. If there is anyone that wants to speak against this project that did not sign in, you're welcome to come to the podium, please.
Hello, my name is Lou Sims. I live 9 Lucina Terrace. I'm on the Gorham Town Council. I was on the council last August when we voted on the purchase and sale agreement. I did vote against that one. One thing I'll point out, it looks like they kind of hit it on some of the things others have noted. So the applicants are proposing a $150,000 payment for a crosstown trail connection. So that's their gift to us to help us with the street safety challenge that this is going to create. Now, I'll remind folks that when we voted on this last August, the town council, we gave them $500,000 off the asking price.
Please address us.
Yep,
Thank
sure,
you.
sure. So we gave up $500,000, and Amazon is giving us $150,000 back. And I'm afraid that that's going to be a theme that recurs throughout our relationship with Amazon unless we take a very different approach. I'm all for improving our property tax challenges. I just don't see how this is going to help us do that all that much as currently presented. There's going to be a whole lot of costs. Some of them you can quantify with dollars you can't, and some of them you can't. We need far more investment in street safety measures. The amount of additional traffic this is going to create is truly beyond any single development that we've seen here in Gorham. And even just, one 18-wheeler truck equals 2 passenger cars. I challenge that assumption generally. I think we need to take more consideration of how much added danger a giant tractor trailer truck adds, and also how much additional damage those things do to the roads as opposed to passenger cars. That's going to cost us in the end. So, they've proposed that they're going to widen Main Street, and the 5-foot shoulders are going to be great bike lanes for the kids along Shamrock Drive and Gateway Commons to presumably use. That is woefully inadequate. Where really the only thing we're going to be able to do is separated trails. I mean, we're going to need separated lanes or separated trails to kind of make any sort of semblance of safety in this area. And as others have mentioned, we're a mile from an elementary school here. We're trying to make it safer for kids to walk or bike. This really achieves the opposite of that.
Thank you, Mr. Sims.
So we're going to, yep.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, anyone you're against, please.
Dennis Boyd, Johnson Road, 4-year resident. Also came from New Jersey, so I know of whence the other gentleman spoke. My understanding is that you are merely here to decide whether or not the Amazon plan meets the appropriate guidances and regulations, not to decide whether or not this is a good idea. What I have not heard is from people who have said they don't meet the regulations, and Amazon says they do. In the future, if it turns out that their studies and their assumptions and everything that I think they did they did it meaningfully, if it turns out to be wrong and traffic does become a disaster, if noise does become a disaster, is there any enforcement that we can do? Is that built into your decision where you say, we take you at your word, but if it turns out that traffic safety has been severely degraded, Amazon now needs to pay to rectify the situation, Or is it just, we made our plan in good faith, turned out to be wrong, but the bill is now at your desk? So I guess my question to the board is, are there post facto consequences built into the decision that you're making? Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, again, anyone against this project, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Hi everyone, Sam Purinton, 184 South Street. There's been a lot of talk about there's been a lot of great points made about this project and some of the ordinance issues, but I want to come back to the one about noise, because when I was looking at the slides, there seemed like there were slides that were showing that the noise impact to people of Shamrock Drive was about 35 to 40 decibels, and I want to illustrate what that claim means. And even standing here in total quiet, not saying anything, the lowest that my decibel right here got down to is 55 decibels. So what is being claimed here is that quiet, that moment of quiet when no one is speaking in this room, is louder than an industrial warehouse that's a 24/7 operation. And so I want to emphasize the importance to the planning board of having an independent consultant verify whether or not the proposed site meets the noise ordinances for Gorham. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, against, please approach the podium. Thank you. State your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Phil Gagnon, 91 Gordon Farms Road. First, I'd like to say thank you. I know that you're volunteering.
I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. You're already signed in, right?
Yeah.
So, did I overlook you?
Yeah, you may have. It's okay.
I would not have overlooked you.
That's all right. It's okay.
I apologize.
I was just going to say.
I have you listed as for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, right now we're taking against.
Just against? Okay, I'm cutting the line, I guess.
Well.
That's all right.
You're going to have to arm wrestle.
I'll just go anyways, I guess. I'd like to say thank you to the volunteers on this board. I know it's not easy to have people come up and criticize and make their points clear of their concerns. You do a good job, and I know that you have the best interest of Gorham in mind when you're making your decisions. That being said, when this parcel was purchased, it was through a referendum. The due diligence was done. Meetings were held with neighbors of what they wanted to see there. I personally didn't like everything that this parcel could done. Purchasing it does create the ability for the town to make adjustments that maybe they wouldn't have been able to if the ordinances were followed to the T, which would allow for, I don't know, I think the parcel could allow for a gravel pit. I don't think a gravel pit would be a good place there. So this being said, my only critique of this plan that I've seen so far is I still think Hutchins Drive, if they can get to it, is a better avenue. If it could as an egress. And the only other thing too is the front facing of Main Street, I think could be hidden a little bit better or have a better appearance. Similar to how Nappy was done or other similar type industrial buildings. A flat sheet on Main Street doesn't lend itself, so thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to circle back. We're still asking for people that are against this project to please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jessica Arnott. I live on Ossipee Trail. I unfortunately do not speak schmooze. The first thing I was actually going to point out is that the data speaks volumes as far as the representation of the community. I'm glad that someone jumped ahead into the yes line, because I was actually going to comment on the fact that there are not a lot of supporters here willing to speak on behalf of this project. I'm now wrong. Secondly, I want to address the options that are being put forth in mitigation with regards to the van parking. The options that were presented tonight basically are telling the community, you can either have distance, which is to make up for your quality of life, or we can impact the wetlands. That, to me, psychosocially, is just damaging. I think that's an inappropriate mitigation. This is just me and my person, but the amount of plastics and oil that'll go into this fencing is just astronomical. That's just where my brain goes. Lastly, something that this goes back to when my son was in 7th grade and I was at a parent-teacher conference. And I recall the music teacher who I was curious why she was my son's advisor. And the piece of advice that she gave that day was for him to go home and look in the mirror when he talks to people because of how inappropriate his face is and what a message it gives to those in his audience. So I just wanted to thank the planning board tonight for not voting so soon and giving all of us the opportunity to speak and be respected. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, moving forward.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Will Irvin. I've been a member of this community since 1987, probably longer than most people in this chambers today. I very rarely come to these meetings. I very rarely talk to the town, mind my own business. Right? This project has got many flaws. A lot of people have brought them up. The mitigation, the traffic, the noise, the pollution, the vernal pools, everything goes on and on and on. One thing that I'm concerned about is what about the impacts? What about the impact fees? You all talk about how this is going to be greater tax revenue. Is this tax revenue going to provide a new fire truck to cover this size building? Is it going to provide additional police officers and the impacts that this town has? Because every single development that has been brought up in this town since I've been here has said, we're going to get more tax revenue. But that tax revenue never drops our mill rate, never makes it livable in our community better. So I have a question for every one of you guys. And when you all talk about this, I want you to think about this. Who needs this more? The town of Gorham, or does the Amazon need the town of Gorham more? Think about that. Amazon's got big pockets. They should pay for whatever impact is going to come to this town if we approve it. Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, sort of, anyone else that would like to speak against this project, please approach this podium, state your name and address for the record. Going once.
I'm Peter Nesbitt from, I forgot it again. That shows you how difficult it is to come up here. There's several things people haven't discussed here really. Is Amazon trustworthy? And things I've heard about Amazon in the newspapers and other things says, no, they're not. They make deals with towns, they break them, and they have enough money to get away with it. They do things that, last time I came, I think some woman said, oh, they have good jobs for our kids. There was an article in the newspaper about that. They aren't good jobs. Amazon's got a reputation for places like this, that what they're planning on putting in, of being a bad job. They've had people working like slaves in those places. So the money they're talking about, paying the workers there. I've seen something where it says that the places they have up in northern Maine, the pay is comparable to McDonald's that they have for the workers there. These are things that you might not be concerned with, but I think the people who would want their kids to go and work there might be more concerned with. And also, well, I guess I leave it off there. I can't remember what else I had, but there's a whole ream of things to say that's negative about this in more ways than the environment, which I think is also important. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the against phase of this public hearing. Anyone else, please? Going once? I welcome anyone against this project. Please speak.
Sorry, I'm kind of hoarse. I've been on a tractor all day. Hey. So I kind of wonder when the town, Charlie Hamblin, Hamblin Drive, my family's been in Gorham since a long, long time. Yeah, early 1700s. I live on a farm since 1783. And I was not on the town council when they voted to approve the sale to Amazon. And I kind of wonder what sort of due diligence they did. I don't know, I wasn't there, but I worry about the traffic that's going through Main Street. I sat through the DOT meeting, and already the quality of traffic going through Gorham is poor. We're in a very high accident area, and it's going to go from 28,000 vehicles a day up at 3,100 additional when Amazon comes, an 11% increase. And I didn't hear anything from DOT saying they're going to change much. I mean, they started talking about what are we going to do to mitigate it. But honestly, what are you going to do? I think downtown Gorham, Main Street Gorham, is going to become the largest parking lot in Maine. And we need to deal with it. And I know you guys are in a tough place, and thank you for serving in part of it, but reality is it's a wrong place, wrong time for that size of organization. We ought to look at this for a long time, figure out if something else makes sense there, and not just move forward because Amazon's going to run over us like a steamroller. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ellie, and I live on South Street.
I'm sorry, your name again, please?
Ellie.
Address, please. Name and address record.
South Street. I'm concerned about the damage to the roads that all of these extra vehicles will have, and who's going to pay for that? Is that the taxpayers? Because roads are very expensive. Is Amazon going to pay for that? Or will it be the taxpayers? Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me say this already. Is anyone else would like to speak against this project? Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Alrighty, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm moving on, please. We already heard 4, so I'm moving on to the 4 portion. Excuse me, Jason Shedlock? Was I close?
I've been called much worse.
Well,
I probably will be.
I mean, no disrespect.
Yeah, no, Jason Shedlock, that's true. My name is Jason Shedlock. I represent the Laborers International Union. I'm also the president of Maine's Building and Construction Trades Council. I put myself in the yes category to speak. I don't live in Gorham. I live in South Portland, represent workers in Gorham, as well as across the state. And the reason why I put myself in the category is because my union, the Laborers Union, has had a relationship with the developer of this project in a number of different projects across New England. And what I will say is when there is a project of this size, working with a developer that has a commitment to building the project with companies that pay family-sustaining wages. We talk about temporary jobs in the construction industry. If anybody works in the construction industry, 30, 40 years, we have some members. That is a 30 or 40-year career of temporary jobs strung together. And when there's an opportunity to work in a job and build something, making a family-sustaining wage, what I come to you and ask is for you to consider the workforce development opportunities. There are a lot of issues that came up today that I won't speak about. I understand, I live in South Portland. We have issues like this come up all the time. And I understand folks' frustration and their passion about it. But I represent workers for a living. I represent workers who have to leave Southern Maine to go to Massachusetts and leave their families to make a family-sustaining wage. I'm not saying that this is the perfect project. I think we saw a number of concessions. I think you probably should see some more. But what I will say is when we have an opportunity to put young people to work, put mid-career adults to work, to put people from traditionally underrepresented populations to work, you should take a hard look at the workforce development opportunities as well. Thanks for everybody for listening and not throwing tomatoes at my way.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Catherine Garrard, please. Catherine Garrard.
Good evening. Catherine Garrard, Ledge Hill Road, resident of Gorham for 35 years. Thank you, Chair Hager. I am going to respond to the applicant's changes to the proposal, believe it or not. Number one, I think that buffering improvements are a great step forward. I was particularly happy to hear that the applicant had met with residents of Shamrock Drive. I have a background in stakeholder relations, in utility infrastructure, and meeting with the butters one-on-one to get feedback is the gold standard, and Amazon has done that. No matter what you believe about their intent or their history or their track record, they took the step to listen to the abutters, and that's reflected in the changes to the buffering. I will say the exhibit that showed moving just part of that parking lot to the east side and increase that buffer by 50 feet is an interesting proposal or concept. It seemed like they didn't want to go there because there is some impact to wetlands, but as you know, there's a process in place when wetlands are impacted by development, and it happens every day, all day, everywhere across the country. There are tools in place to mitigate that impact, whether that's creating a wetland in another part of the site or of the community, or fees paid to impact that wetland. And I don't know how the Shamrock Drive people feel about increasing that buffer, but that seemed like a significant increase. As far as the DOT, oh man.
It's close. It's close.
All right, I'm going to submit my other comments to you in writing. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have on our 4 pages of people that are speaking in favor of this project. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of this project? Please approach the podium. State your name and address for the record.
Clayton Lubia, live on County Road, been here 37 years. All right, enough's enough. Let Amazon build that place, okay? We've had that land a long time. It's time to let it go. They seem to be doing a real good job. Nobody else wants that. The people that are complaining about it, they should have bought the property. They had more than ample opportunity. Okay? If they ain't got nothing better to do, they can then come and complain about everything here. They should go and find a place to help lower our taxes. Okay, it's going to give us some jobs. It's going to pay taxes. It may be help on our property taxes. okay? Instead of raising taxes again, you know, like I just said, it should help with the taxes. They seem to be a good company. I don't know why everybody's bad-mouthing them. They don't really know the facts. None of them ever worked for them, you know? And you people have got to let Amazon build that property before they just say, see you later. And then we keep paying. And by the way, I know none of you are going to answer this question to me. What do we make for a payment on that every month? Hello? You don't know, or you don't want to tell me, or you don't answer questions?
It was a $4 million bond, so I'm not sure what we're 5 years into it.
Okay, well, how much, you know, I can just imagine what the payment is on that. We could be using that money for other things, a lot of other things, instead of wasting it on that property. We got a chance to sell it, sell it. You got to. If you don't, nobody else is going to buy it, from what I can see. And while everybody's complaining about it, granted, there's going to be more traffic. What do you want to do? Stop the world? That's progress. And we're in the middle of it. So I think you people ought to make the decision, make it as soon as better. That's all I got. Thanks for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone else that wants to speak in favor of this project, please approach the podium.
My name is Virginia Wilder Cross, and thank you very much for letting those of us who aren't exactly on the other side of the table to speak. My only comment is I wanted to thank Amazon for making very thoughtful changes, and those changes, as far as I could see, were based on the questions that many people had at our last chance to talk. So I appreciate that Amazon has made a big effort, and we haven't said that they wouldn't make more concessions yet. So I'm glad you're going to hold off that vote and wait to see if we can make this work. Thanks.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're still in the FAR phase. Anyone else would like to approach the podium? State your name and address for the record, please. Going once? Going twice? Anyone else, please, for the project? Alrighty, thank you. I'm opening this up now to those people who have signed up that are neutral. The first person I see is Mr. George Robeson. I apologize if that's not pronounced correctly.
And I thought for sure you were going to get it right. It's Robichaux.
Robichaux.
I live in Buxton. My family has owned a piece of property on the southeast corner of this lot. There's 5.5 acres there. We have 900 feet that abuts the town property that Amazon wants to buy. I heard Sebago said that they've contacted the abutters about concerns. I have heard nothing about them. They haven't asked me if I have any concerns at all. Number two, it's about the procedure about this public meeting. It's my understanding that where this is a public meeting, all abutters are notified by mail. I have received nothing. I always do receive a letter in the mail. Knowing the U.S. Post Office will probably be there Thursday or Friday. But I have not got anything, and the only reason I knew there was a meeting tonight was because I turned the news on at 6 o'clock. Somebody did a very poor job of notifying me. I don't know about anybody else. This is not the first time that we have not been notified about things the town were doing around our property. Back I understand that this piece of property was sold to Amazon or is being sold to Amazon because it is zoned industrial. I have been in control of this land ever since my mother passed away in 1983. I have all of the records from the town of Gorham when all public meetings were going to be held. Now, if there was a public meeting about the tax status of that property being changed from agricultural and farming to industrial, I understand in 1999, I never got anything. I was never notified there was a public hearing. I never attended. The only reason I found out was around 2003, I went to the town, to the tax collector, and I complained because my taxes had gone up so high. And he had no idea why. And then when he got looking, he said, oh, that's industrial now.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm sorry you didn't get notified. Mr. Vaselli. George Vaselli, please.
Thank you. I had sent in a letter about the development a while back, but tonight I want to bring up something. I thank the fellow who, I'm George Vaselli, Brookfield Court in Gorham. Thank the fellow who talked about the fire truck and the fellow who spoke up for the workers, because the two concerns I have go back to the ordinance right now that says vehicle access safe and convenient accesses, and layout of the site would provide for safe movement of passenger services and emergency vehicles throughout the site. And the biggest one I have right now is that we have 3 proposed dead ends into this site. They're dead ends. There's only one way in and one way out. Emergency vehicles should be able to circulate that site, that whole plant, 360 degrees. These roads are close enough together that they can make that connection, even if it's pavers underneath with signs that say for authorized vehicles only. But, you know, a few seconds, if somebody pulls into the wrong entrance, a few seconds can mean a lot to somebody's health and safety. If there's a fire and they come in on the wrong side of the building, they're going to have to turn around and go back out and onto 25 and come back in again. It should be an easy fix for Amazon. The second maybe is more of a question, because when I looked at the site plan on Thursday last week, I noticed that the vans are being queued up 4 at a time, 4 parallel vans. They're lined up, they're called up to the front in front of the loading zone, but they're 4 parallel to the loading dock. I've never seen anybody go parallel to a loading dock. Usually they're backing into it. So now you got 4 vehicles next to each other. It means the guy who's on the outside has to walk past between these vans to get to the loading dock to get his stuff he's going to put in his van to drive away in. And you know, these van drivers are not Amazon employees. They're going to be independent contractors, I think is what they called them for. They probably don't have the insurance coverages and the health and safety and anything else. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But I really question how Amazon's going to get these vans loaded up quickly and out of there right away. They might have a magic piece of equipment that brings them all out and loads them, and the van driver stays in his van. I don't know. But I think it needs something that has to be addressed. Those are the 2 items I wanted to discuss.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anyone that wants to be neutral, speak to this project about being neutral? Anyone else? This is it. We will have another meeting, I'm sure, but is there anyone else? All right, I will close the public hearing then. It's 10 past 9. Our next, thank you to everyone who's addressed the planning board. Next order of business is planning board questions and comments. Mr. Taylor, I don't know if you want to Jump up there. To my right? Anything?
It's up to you how you want to conduct the proceeding from here.
We typically go back and forth. Do you want to take a 5-minute break? You want to shake your legs for 5 minutes? All right, please, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 3-minute break. 9:15, we're going to hard 9:15. We're going to start up again. We'll take a brief intermission or a restroom break. Thank you.
Oh, here he is. I'm hiding behind it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday evening, July 20th, 2026. This is a continuation of a meeting of the Gorham Planning Board. At this point in the meeting, we're at the Planning Board question staff applicant process Q&A period. It's at 9:15. We have a hard stop at 10 p.m. We do know there will be another meeting after this meeting, but let's try and get questions answered of what we have tonight, because I suspect there'll be some more edits and changes. Everyone okay? Everyone okay?
Just a process question, if we could, before we get into the specifics. So, we have, 40 minutes basically to cover what we need to cover. What's going to happen after this meeting in terms of, are we going to continue to have this type of a format meeting? Would this be better conducted in a workshop meeting. If you want to get into, I like to get into some of the real details of some of the stuff, and this format's it's difficult.
We are time limited, I agree.
I mean, the public input is
I
fantastic.
could take up 45 minutes by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't mean to.
And I'll have 46.
I think we do the best we can, unless someone has an objection. We just go around the table and present these questions.
What I think Dave's trying to get at is,
what's
next?
Yeah, if we come back
After this meeting, what's next?
Are we going to have another meeting just like this, and we'll have an hour presentation, an hour plus for public input, and then 45 minutes for this?
Yes.
I'd recommend
not necessarily.
hearing from your attorney.
Yeah, not necessarily. If you don't get through all of your questions today, you can continue to another meeting, and you can start the next meeting with your deliberations.
At this point?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It'll be a continuation of this section of the meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
That helps.
And I was asked by the reporter, when we have left, when our next meeting is going to be. August 2nd is already booked. I'm looking to my right.
True.
Whether it happens August 9, 16, we would need plenty of notice.
17.
17th, I can't add.
Available.
Thank you. I don't know if Amazon would be ready to respond to those questions that we would pose tonight.
Maybe we can address that at the end of this meeting.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm rambling on here. So there'll be at least another meeting, at least one more meeting, and probably not August 2nd. Would you agree? Isn't our agenda full?
They've already missed the deadline to submit
Okay.
anything for
Okay.
it.
All righty, thank you. So looking to my left.
Well, I would love to get into the parking changes unless you want to jump into something first.
I'll just wait. I'll go to the end. I'm looking to my right. Any input? No? You just
No,
ready?
I think that's a fine place to start.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Okay. Chris, one of the things I have been asking a lot about from the beginning is how do we open up the space between Shamrock Drive and the parking? And thank you for presenting some options. But I think there was one member of the public who expressed an opinion that I don't necessarily disagree with, that we feel kind of boxed in. We have the issue of wetlands, and we have the issue of residents. And which wins? I'm conflicted with that. You presented, well, we can move 10% of them over and we have to impact the spina wetlands. We move 50%. Okay. And I think someone had said, yes, there is a process for mitigating wetlands. We all know that. It's expensive. It's a process. And in this case, where this lot is wetlands limited, I mean, it's not a pristine lot for development with all of the wetland impacts throughout it. But it's the lot you've chosen to work with. And, when I looked at what you presented, and could you pull it up? You presented one option to relocate 10% roughly by moving over there behind. And, okay. So, and then you presented 50%. And of course, I like the 50% because it provides a much bigger buffer to Shamrock Drive. But also, I noticed that we're kind of working with rectangular parking lots. Is there a way, when looking at that, I hate to use the term, let's think out of the box, but in this situation, I think it kind of applies. Let's think outside of the rectangle. Is there a way to fit parking that doesn't conform to nice even sides and design it so it may fit some of the areas that are less impacted by wetlands in that area? You know, could you fit in a couple triangular lots? I know it's not ideal, but could that be done? Because I think, you know, one of the things we hear throughout all of this is the proximity to Shamrock Drive is too close. You have presented some buffering. I appreciate that. You presented quite a bit of changes from the last time we spoke. But I'm still very interested in how can we move parking, even if it breaks it up into 3 pieces of lot. How can we move some of it over there? Or, well, let's go right to it. What about mitigating the wetlands to try to do that? It's done. I'm sure you've done it. But I would really like to see that more work in that area and see if we can open up, and I'm open to other ideas, but how can we open up the space between Shamrock Drive and the parking area? That's my number one concern.
Do you have a number 2 concern?
No, I'll let you handle it.
Mr. Chair?
Please, Mr. Russell.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Frank.
Yeah, a couple of things. The one of the people from the audience mentioned the buffering in terms of the existing scrub, and I had made a note last night. The scrub versus the trees, what would be the more effective buffer? And obviously, a lot depends on the nature of the scrub and the nature of the trees. You know, is it going to be better or worse in the winter versus the summer, given the choice that you make in terms of leave the scrub or rip it out and replace it with trees? That's just something I was wondering, because, and I'm not a, you know, agricultural kind of guy that I would know. And speaking of agriculture, in 1999, I think someone said the land was rezoned from agriculture to industrial. And I'm wondering if the prevalence of all these wetlands just made it so unsuitable for agriculture. Was that the case? Why it just made for lousy farmland? And so, okay, let's make it industrial because it's a better suited purpose. I know, the rhetorical questions, my voice is rising at the end, which makes it a question. So these are just some of the things that I crossed my mind as I was reviewing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Ms. Nichols?
Yes.
You grabbed your mic. I assume you were
I do have a couple
ready
questions.
to speak.
First, I just clarification on the crosswalk. Did I understand that there will not be a crosswalk at Shamrock crossing Main Street? There will only be one at Libby where the light is. So there's the only crosswalk crossing 25 is where there's a traffic light. Or are there going to be 2 crosswalks?
So the plans that we submitted did show a crosswalk across Main Street with what's referred to as an RRFB crossing. Town staff has recommended that we not go with that plan, that the crosswalk be extended down to Libby. If that was to be done, the crosswalk at Shamrock and Gateway Commons would not be installed. That's because of that recommendation of that's the recommendation.
Absolutely.
Basically.
I just wanted to clarify that because it was a little bit, I was just not 100% sure. So at this point, we're looking at no crosswalk at Shamrock, crossing just in the middle of 25, but a crosswalk where there is already a traffic light.
Correct.
Which is an appropriate place for it. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. I wanted to ask about a couple of comments, but I had a question about the fencing material and the durability of it. Fencing for buffering can sometimes be the nemesis of a project because poor quality is used and then it just looks like an eyesore and it starts falling apart. So I just was wondering I know it's not wood, good. But that is a fence that's durable, that's expected to last 20 years. Plastics forever, I got. Okay.
Yes, it is expected to last 20 years, but I think the fence has the most value at the start of construction when the vegetation hasn't grown in. The longer the vegetation gets a chance to grow, the less you kind of rely on the fence. So there's kind of a give and take there.
Okay. And let's just see, there was a couple of questions here. There was one, actually it was the last gentleman that spoke, Mr. Verselli, if I'm saying that correctly. He mentioned, I don't know how we didn't catch it, that all of the roads going into the project are dead ends, that there's no loop, and we always look for a loop. So I'm not sure how we overlooked that and whether that's something we should be looking at on the plan, that if we have an emergency vehicle, there should always be a way for it to come in and get out and not having to turn around. So I just wanted to bring that up. And let's see which other one got me. I do want to just make a comment. There was one community member who noted that, kind of made a comment during her presentation, that this board rubber stamped your 2 waivers. And I just think it's important to know that there was no rubber stamping, that, the waivers were given with a lot of research looked into them and knowing what was necessary and what we needed to do. So that I just would like to get out there. And I think that's it on my questions for now. So I will pass the mic right along to you, Mr. Benson.
Thank you. I don't have, well, I've got a couple of maybe some recommendations. I also have some questions for staff and some general comments. So I was concerned about notification of abutters, so I would like some follow-up on notification and if we've missed any other abutters, since we have obviously missed one. So if we could, at our next meeting, get some feedback on abutter notification, and if we know of any others that were missed and what we've done to rectify it would be helpful. I also have questions about the sound study. There's been several comments about the sound impact, and we saw the study that was provided, which makes it look like it meets the decibel requirements. There were some questions about how our ordinance is worded, average requirement versus time-specific requirement. I don't have enough background in our noise ordinance, so I would like some more information on that. If you have it tonight, great. If not, we can wait till the next meeting, but that would be helpful because it was a repeated comment from many of the community members. Go ahead.
I'm going to answer some questions about the ordinance itself because it was rewritten a few years ago.
So the noise ordinance, the council hired a noise expert to write it because it's very technical and very specific. So that's why we had the noise study peer reviewed. I think what the planning board can do to ensure that the noise study that's being presented and that was peer reviewed, that was found to be met, is add a condition that a sound study be done once it's operating to ensure that the sound meets the requirements that were identified in the site plan. And if it's not being met, then we can look at adding additional mitigation to it.
Can you address the requirements of the ordinance? Is it an average? There were some specific comments made about the ordinance from a council member.
It's an average because you average it over a specific time. I can't remember the exact time distance, but there are penalties for short repetitive sounds that they increase. So if there's a loud banging or a loud noise, you put an escalator on it so it hurts the actual noise study. So there are provisions to address short noises, but yes, it is based on an average of an hour, but there are ways to impact it.
So again, because it's been such it's been an issue that's come up now at repeated meetings, and many of the commenters tonight addressed it, I would like some more information on how that ordinance is worded and how you said there's different ways you can mitigate it, and there are different ways to figure out what the decibels are, but and if it's just me, then we don't have to do it, but I'd be interested in some more information on it.
I would as well.
At the next meeting.
So you're asking our noise consultant?
On the ordinance. No, what does the ordinance say?
Okay, what's the ordinance?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can provide that.
Yeah. Appreciate it. I had the same question about road connections on site. It seems pretty easy to connect some of those so that there's some vehicular traffic flow, or at least the ability for emergency vehicles to get through. I did want to mention also, because there's been a number of comments about wetlands. There was a lot made about the shoreland ordinance during our last public hearing, and I wanted to make sure that everyone saw the response from the Maine Department of Environmental Protection that stated that the wetland did not trigger the shoreland ordinance. So I wanted to make sure that the public understood that, and that they've been able to read that. It's pretty clear coming back from the Department of Environmental Protection. And then I have some of the same questions about why did Amazon choose this location? Why this company? What about tax revenue? What about impact fees? None of those questions are in front of this board. So I want to say that, yeah, I've got some of those same questions, but that's not what this board is deciding about. So I just wanted to state that publicly. And I trust that Amazon does their market research and understands how to load and unload trucks. They wouldn't be in business if they didn't know how to do it. So they've made a decision to purchase the property. Seems like it's a long way from the highway to me, but so I just want to say that I understand some of the public comment, but that's not what this board is here to decide. We're going to decide it on the merits of the project with respect to the ordinances. And if I've said something out of turn, please correct me, fellow board members or staff, but that's kind of how I approach it. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you, Colonel. Anyone else? I have a few things myself, but I don't want to. Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, one more thing. The vegetation, I would also defer to the locals about removing the vegetation that exists versus planting trees. It depends on the vegetation and the trees. Obviously, there's vegetation there. I wouldn't want to take anything out just to put something else back that didn't meet the local the residents of Shamrock. Whatever they prefer seems to me the best option and the least impact to the wetlands. So that was the only other comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Anyone else? I have a few things I want to run through, but we got 25 minutes. I won't take 25 minutes.
Come back to me after you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to fly through this. I'm going to look to my right, please, in our 71-page document, if you don't mind. No disrespect to anyone. I'm looking in the middle of the Part 4 page, Part 4 section.
What page, please?
Page 4 of 71. It's a spelling thing, and I apologize. It says, third bulleted item under Part 4, it says the applicants have made other adjustments to reduce impacts on abutters, including light pole, P-O-L-L, P-O-L-E, perhaps? It's a crazy thing with spelling. I know. I apologize. I'm flying through this. A lot of yes, I agree, yes, I remember, yes, no cut buffer, yes, yes, yes. I was going to ask, Mr. Norton, I think if you have a second, please, on page 12 of 71, if they follow through. So you had a couple of comments here on Exhibit 2, the van parking lot relocation. You have some issues.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just had a couple of comments when those exhibits came in. Just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to discuss those exhibits. They were showing that parking getting moved around and, looking at it from an engineering standpoint, highlighting that there were additional wetland impacts with moving parking, as well as some concerns about that the impacts of the wetlands not necessarily 100% mitigating traffic or the parking area adjacent to Shamrock Drive.
Sure. And you're not satisfied yet because of those are?
Just concerns. Certainly,
Sure.
Certainly wanted to make sure the board was aware of them.
This is the place to air those concerns. Thank you. I have a bunch on the drawings as well. I'm looking on page 45. Page 45, please, at the very, very, very bottom. Conditions of approval. Letter B, the applicant shall provide property line information and site information in CAD format. For some of us, we know there's a million different types and formats of CAD. Are we talking AutoCAD, MicroCAD? Are we still requiring it in a CAD format?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Should it say AutoCAD? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I'm not sure if I would look to the planning board if we stipulate what actual piece of software that we require, but typically that comes in through AutoCAD.
You need a digital copy.
Digital copy, correct.
But it's something we can read.
Correct. The town does have software to read those files.
Okay, thank you.
CAD is always our requirement.
What's that?
Just the generic CAD.
Sure, but there are so many different versions.
Usually people ask and we tell them which version.
Okay, thank you. I'm curious, on page 46, please. This goes to the value, letter 5C. It says, payment of a fee in the amount of $150,000 to be used by the town for the crosstown trail connections. I have two questions here. Number one, how did we, and maybe Mr. Taylor, you know this, how did we determine 150K? Was that our side or their side? Do we know?
So the applicant requested, we have a schedule of values that were prepared by our engineer that's doing the design work for the trail. So we gave that information to the applicant to see what they would be willing to contribute to an off-site improvement for a trail, and then that's what they brought back forward, was that amount.
Okay, well and good. What I would say, if whatever happens here, if this 150K winds up, I think that has to be encumbered, and I would speak to the town manager about that this money, because of my experience with other groups, that money gets put into the pot, and people see the money's there, and they decide, oh, I can borrow this money. So if perhaps this goes through, that 150K is earmarked, and it's for this project. It's not going to be taken by anyone else.
That's correct.
Okay, just we're on the same page. Thank you. Sorry, I'm running through this. I'm running through this. The next thing, that's all I have on our 71 pages, but I have comments on drawings. And what's your pleasure? I'm looking to my left and to my right.
Proceed. Okay, continue on.
20 minutes.
Proceed. Continue on.
You,
Please leave me a few minutes.
you want me to go, or you want to go? All right, hold on, folks. Let's go. Mr. Taylor, I got this crazy idea, don't mind me, about this whole parking scheme. And sadly, we don't have a digital copy that we can display on the board. So I don't know how that, I'm looking at drawing C102. Okay, let's, if we can, focus on that huge parking lot. Can we zoom in on that, please? Okay, here we go. My question is, and I'm not trying to design it, but I guess I am. We have, by my count, we have 39 parking spots facing Shamrock Drive for all intents and purposes. So, since we have 10 rows of parking, we could add 4 spots on each of those 10 lanes and there would be no headlights ever facing Shamrock Drive. You follow me? We would simply, in CAD terms, stretch those white, I guess they're ends of the things. So we would be eliminating those 39 parking spots that are facing Shamrock Drive. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And perhaps where those white, I don't know, end things are, that it would still be enough room to be a slip lane. So you follow me? I can sketch this for you later for anyone in the public that wants to. I'm getting into the, but we're trying to appease Shamrock Drive as much as humanly possible.
You're talking about doing this, right? Adding 4 parking spaces at the end of each row.
Yeah, in AutoCAD terms, would be stretching that white thing toward Shamrock Drive and adding 4 more spots on all 10 rows. So we had 39 spots, we're gonna have 40. We're net gaining 1. That's an idea. Something you have to investigate. I'm not gonna, something you can look at. Okay with that right now?
Got it, yep.
Okay, now, if we go a little bit more towards the middle, between the parking lot and the building, a little bit more to your left, please, or zooming in, sliding a little bit to your left. Okay, right down there on the far right-hand side, we have this wild S-curve. Yeah. I for whatever, I don't want it. I wish we could take a tangent line from the radius of both sides and just make that a straight line. Removing these OG curves in this road.
I agree with you. You'll have to bring it up with the Portland Water District. They wanted a perpendicular crossing of the easement so that the road crosses the water line at a 90-degree angle and not at like a 45.
It's so difficult for traffic, right? I get it, that's a bigger authority than us, but very, very poor, very, very poor. I guess we can't, I don't know how you can get around that. I'm not a civil guy. Look to Mr. Norton.
PWD requirement.
Yeah, well, Portland. Okay, well, I guess I get one out, 2 maybe. I was just trying to avoid those turns. You know, in and out. It's tragic when we're flying around. Please, trying to fly through this, try fly through this, try. I'm looking at sheet C 112. We have the big retention pond. Yes, correct.
This one?
Yes, correct. And when I go to sheets 118 and 119, we see portions of it. I guess sheet 119, it shows it in its entirety.
Yep.
I didn't see a detail. Do we have a fence around this?
There's not a fence proposed around it.
Would we look at that as a safety concern? Because that thing is pretty deep. No?
So
No.
this is these are what DEP refers to as wet ponds. These are pretty standard or a standard option for stormwater treatment. They are designed with what's referred to as a safety bench. So as you slope down to the water elevation, there's a 10-foot wide shelf.
Yep, safety shelf. Yes, I saw that.
Right at the
Yep.
top of at the water level. So if a person were to stumble, fall down, there's a safety area where they have ground to land on and not go into the water. So.
Okay, I'm good with that. We're good with that. I mean, I just think of something that could be safer. I guess. That's all I have. Thank you for your time. Anyone else, please? It's 9:45. Please. Yes, Mr. Frank.
Yes, following up actually on your comment, Jim, as well as Mr. Vercelli's about the three, what he called the dead ends. And yeah, it does look that way. And what you said about, what I was going to suggest is eliminate that S-curve thing, but then we're crossing the Portland water line at an angle. And then my other thing was maybe we could connect the truck loading lot with the van loading lot near where the dumpster pad is. Again, I'm on 102, C102, sorry. And we could at least make a loop, if you will, from the semi-trailer truck entrance and the van entrance. Now with the employee entrance, the one in the middle, yeah, that looks to be like a dead end. Because if an ambulance can get in, I guess that's probably the primary concern. Again, this is the C102, just lots going on there.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Anyone? Mr. Walsh, you've been patient.
No problem. So, just getting back through a couple of these things. One issue that was brought up in looking at your shift change times, I think there was a safety issue brought up since 9 a.m. is a shift change time, and yeah, you have Narragansett School right down the street. So that's a safety concern you are going to have to deal with as part of doing business, because that is quite close. Chris, one of the other things you had shown was an example of connecting to Sear Drive. I was hopeful when I brought that up that you'd be able to kind of fish something down through the eastern side of the lot. Certainly the western side of the lot kind of goes, I mean, the issues you brought out, just show it doesn't make sense, going down that side. I was hoping that something could fish down through and kind of come out in a similar area, and that you could distribute parking along it. It's kind of like if you could make a wider street and have parking alongside, and just, again, ways to try to bring some of that parking over and work with the wetlands. So I guess I'll concede the point on the western side, but I'd still like to see some proposals for the parking on the eastern side of the PWD easement. But I guess the road connection to Sear Drive and some of the other parts brought out against it, not a good idea to have it across the crosstown trail. I'll concede that at this point. One question I had with regard to buffering, you have proposed a 4-foot berm, which you're going to plant trees on top of. Two questions related to that. Why only 4 feet? Would higher be better? And then with the trees that you are planting in your visuals that you showed us, they look pretty, but they're showing trees when they're fully grown. With what you're proposing in your landscape plan, what will the height of the trees be in year 1?
So to get to your question on the height of the 4-foot berm, it's really a grading question of we didn't want to make a berm that goes straight up, come down, and not be able to have trees planted on them. So we kept it at, I think it's between like 4-to-1, 5-to-1 slope so that you can plant trees on it. And that's kind of the highest we could get. Just going up, shallow top, and then coming back down. Height of the trees, the majority of trees are, let me pull up the landscape plan here so I don't misspeak.
Thank you.
So the standard height for evergreen trees at planting is 6 to 7 feet high. Deciduous trees are 2.5-inch caliper. That's kind of just how they get measured differently.
Probably 10 feet.
Yes. The birch trees, so they get measured in height, even though they're deciduous, they're 8 to 10 feet high.
Yeah.
There are select trees that got increased in height. I'm trying to look to see what they got increased to.
But either way, I mean, it's going to take a
Yes.
number of years for these to grow in.
Yeah.
And the other issue of deciduous trees, I mean, obviously, they're only going to provide screening in the warmer weather months when they're leafed out. The more evergreens you can have in there, the better screen it's going to be for folks long term.
There was careful thought into providing a mix of deciduous and evergreen, with the deciduous typically growing taller faster, providing that canopy, even though it's summertime or half the year sort of situation in Maine. But yeah, it is a majority of evergreen trees for screening.
Good. Okay, let's see. On noise, you've mentioned the different backup alarms. I did a Google search today, try to find what that sounded like. I don't think I found the right one. Can you provide just a sound clip of what the smart backup, the shush, does sound like at our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, that'd be great. And let's see. I did like some of the changes you made in lighting. I think you addressed a lot of concerns. I appreciate that. And then lastly, sidewalks. Now, tonight I heard on sidewalks that between staff and the applicant kind of said you're going to, hoping to, well, have more sidewalk heading towards Libby. It's exactly the direction I was not thinking. It is interesting. I mean, I like it. But what I think I brought up earlier in the meeting is, given the impact on this section of road, I think it would be benefit to the town if we had sidewalk that not only went from Shamrock to the site, but would extend all the way to Moshe Corner. And I think it was also brought out that the 5-foot wide shoulder is somewhat of an inadequate bike lane. I personally would like to see, and this would be rather than $150,000 spent on trail myself, I'd rather see an improved sidewalk on that road with a bike lane, a dedicated bike lane, or something wider than 5 feet. And I realize that would take, between the town staff and the applicant, this is just one person talking over here, but I would rather see us connect Moshe Corner to Shamrock with sidewalk and safe biking, considering the amount of traffic that's going to be in and out of there. It's going to be a hard place to ride a bike.
Be easier to get to Beal's Ice Cream.
Damn right.
Just saying.
Yeah. So anyway, I kind of look into both sides here, because my idea was solitary, and it sounds like you folks have been thinking about something different.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 5 minutes to 10. I respect, we have a few more minutes, but this meeting will be continued. Look to my right, please.
Since we have the fire chief here, so planning staff's understanding for the fire department, it's important to have access to 4 sections of the building, not that the connection for emergency vehicles be connected all the way around. But since the fire chief is here, he can speak to whether he needs that access to go all the way around the building, or does he just need access to all 4 sides of the building? So I think if the planning board is looking for a recommendation of what the fire chief prefers, he's here tonight and he could speak to that.
Chief Fickett, you know, I have all the respect in the world for you. Can you do it in less than 5 minutes? No, you've been here all night. I mean, no, I'm not trying to disrespect anyone. I'm trying to give everyone equal access, equal time. But, Mr. Walsh, you said it's a hard 10 p.m.
2 minutes. I can do
Chief
it in 2
Fickett.
minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have access to all 4 corners of the building. All 4 corners have fire hydrants. I have complete access to 3 ways around, and then I have access from the other road in. And we were led to believe in the planning stages that it's not going to be a declared road, but there's going to be an access around the complete structure. And it's in NFPA 1 that I do have access around the complete structure.
So it's not going to be a town road, but it's going to be built to town standards?
It's going to be that I can run a truck over that grass period. There's only a little piece that's not accessed. It's a short little piece that I don't have access to. And I was told that we get trucks in there, we can get them out of there. And the trouble I'm going to have getting to this building is one thing. If I'm told where the problem is in the building, that's where we go. If I'm told it's in the south side of the building, and lo and behold, it's in the north side of the building, it is what it is. We will get to where the problem is. Does that answer the question?
It's over my head. I understand, but between Mr. Taylor and I'm looking to my right, I'm sure there's a coordinated effort here that we're going to get what the chief needs for public safety.
I'm going to get what I need, yes. Because we haven't signed off on the building plans yet. We've only looked at the layout of outside. I'm going to get what I need.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And we appreciate that on behalf of the community.
So am I understanding that you are recommending you need access to go all the way around and that short little piece?
I do, but it doesn't need to be paved.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if there was, just make sure there was that short
It's like a
piece.
12-foot fire lane around the building. We have it at the Great Falls School. It's not a public access or anything, but yet it's a plowed access all the way around, so I get 360 degrees around the building.
So
And that's what it's designed for.
Can you work with Mr. Norton and Mr. Taylor and say this is what we need? Or can they just?
Yeah, we can address it.
Yeah.
And if it's paved, it's paved. It's going to be permanent.
It can be paved if they want to, it can be dirt. Doesn't matter. The one at the high school that gets me access around the building's dirt.
Well, one of the questions I had, it's 10 o'clock, was where do we put where are you going to put all the snow? Because it does snow in Maine.
They're not going to put it on my road.
Well, we don't have to answer that this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 10 p.m. I'm not trying to cut anyone off, but that was our hard stop. We will be continuing this meeting.
Can we have a discussion as to when that next meeting can or should take place? Maybe hear from the applicant.
Well, you're stealing my thunder, and I'm the chairman. So,
Okay.
I was looking at my silly phone here. So our next meeting is August 3rd. We will not expect to have anything back by August 3rd for this project. Our next meeting after that would be August 17th. We do have a second meeting for each month. I don't know if they will be ready by August 17th. I can't say that.
Let me add in, the submission deadline is the 27th of July.
For August 17th.
For August 17th. So peer reviewers have enough time to review the material and provide feedback.
September 7th is Labor Day. That's the first Monday. So our meeting, then normal meeting will now be September 14th.
Right.
So,
Please.
I just want to be clear. So what the applicant is submitting is an itemized list of what the planning board asks this evening for them to submit. I just want to be clear what we're going to be asking them for and what they're submitting, because it's not entirely clear to me are we looking at landscape plan and a revised parking plan? Is there a distance from Shamrock Drive you're looking to meet? And if they do meet that, is that acceptable to the board? What changes to landscaping do you want to see? Just so we can relay that information to the applicant.
So when I have a personal request, for example, on this parking lot, that all these cars or trucks, whatever they are facing Shamrock Drive, and my personal request is, hey, let's mitigate this. Let's take those 39 spaces, absorb them into the perpendicular spot, so no headlights, in theory, are reflecting towards Shamrock Drive, and we have all these other plantings. But that's just a personal request. It's not,
Okay.
and for the others, I'm not speaking for the others.
Well, I mean, I kind of trip over this because this is where this format of sitting up at the dais and speaking the way we do, we're all speaking, giving our speeches or whatever, we're not talking to each other. And it's hard to say because my personal opinion is I'd like to see the 350 feet, but I don't know if that's what the board wants. You know? So, I mean.
The option is to schedule a meeting for August 17th as a workshop, and you discuss your list of things you would like them to submit to you, since you've run out of time this evening.
I think that would be a great use of time, that the board could decide, come to a consensus on what we need from the applicant. And then it would also give us time to review things like the sound study ordinance, and the notification of abutters and other things that we've asked to review. So that would be my preference.
August 17th? August 17th?
Workshop.
So
Workshop.
they don't have to submit anything for that. You're just going to schedule it so you can have more discussion and let them know exactly your list.
But we're not going to let them know the list until August 17th.
Because you don't even know what it is yet.
Right.
You haven't agreed on what you've all discussed.
Okay. And then that'll put them into September.
Yes.
All right, yes, because I feel personally that I'm not ready to, like, I don't know exactly what it is that we're
Okay,
asking.
okay. So we have a regular meeting on August 3rd. We will have a workshop on the 17th specifically for this project
Yes.
with the architect and engineer participating.
Certainly.
Okay,
The
but
applicant has to be there.
Public
and
is going to attend, but workshops, we don't generally allow public participation.
It'll be under a workshop heading
Okay,
or discussion heading.
okay. Look to my left. Everyone okay with that? Yep. Walsh?
Yep.
That second Wednesday, Monday, okay?
Got it on the schedule.
I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, anything else to come before us? We're adjourning, but we're going to be continuing this meeting.
Continuing to August 17th.
Well, that's a workshop, that's not a meeting. Right? Legally?
Oh, I see. Continuing.
No votes in a workshop.
Right.
Please.
If you are going to do this at a workshop, you could do it before your regular meeting, at the first meeting in August. That hour before, because it's not a meeting, you're just doing a workshop, we could have a workshop before our regular meeting and give the applicant an hour of time to nail down what you want for that parking lot.
There may be other things as well.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you have, other items, traffic, the abutters, we can have all that stuff for that meeting, and we can just do it the hour before your regular meeting. That will save you from coming back for another meeting.
I prefer that. Carol, do you have any idea, or Damon, do you have any idea what the agenda looks like on this, for August
Yeah, that's already
3rd or whatever the date is?
Yep. It's already published.
One thing to note, that there
Is
is
it-
a
what-
workshop already scheduled for before that meeting, the legal training.
We could move that.
Move that.
It usually takes
Yeah.
an hour, so you need more time for that.
Well, yeah, if we didn't have the legal training at another time, I mean, most of us have been all through that several times.
Correct.
But is it a long agenda for that meeting?
Yes.
Full
It is.
agenda. Yeah.
It will take you the full till 10 o'clock.
Okay, all right.
Do we want to keep the 17th as a placeholder?
Well, if we could do it on the 3rd, I'd rather do it on the 3rd.
Well, my only problem is you're squeezing two ends against the middle. You're trying to say, we have an hour, we only have an hour. Well, we only have an hour.
Right.
And so I tend to be overly verbose, and perhaps, we take turns. So we're cutting ourselves short, I think.
Well, our legal workshop, isn't that scheduled for like an hour and a half?
It was at 5:30,
Yeah,
yes.
so we can do hour and a half workshops.
You want to do 5:30?
I'm sure the applicant can do 5:30.
5:30 on Monday, the 3rd, August 3rd?
And you'll have pizza.
Are we winding down? Are we clear on our intent here?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to continue this.
5:30 on
There'll be a
August 3rd.
workshop on August 3rd at 5:30. Then we'll segue to our regular meeting at 7, full agenda. Do we want to hold August 17th? Do we want to announce it now?
I don't think you need to. If we needed to, we could just announce it at August.
Well, my purpose here is to tell everybody that we will meet, just in case people have other plans, and then they can,
Sure.
and then if we don't meet, then they can go about their,
I like that idea, so let's announce it as
17th.
As a backup.
It's just my experience lately.
Is that a regular meeting or a workshop for the 17th?
17th, it'll be whatever it needs to be, I guess. How's that? Looking to my left, looking to my right. Ladies and gentlemen?
Just a question for you. If it's a workshop, we can't take any votes, but are we able to provide, are we able to have a discussion and say, hey, this is what we're asking the applicant to do? Can we do that in a workshop, or does it have to be done in this form?
I think you can identify like a straw vote of how you would vote if
Okay.
a certain thing came forward.
All right.
Yeah, we can't vote in a workshop, but we can give guidelines, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Is this, Mr. Taylor, does that work for you?
Pardon, Jim. Hang on.
I'm just curious if there are concerns identified in the workshop, and then meeting again on the 17th, would that be enough time for the applicant to? Right.
Probably not, but at least maybe we can, and maybe we need to add the 17th with more stuff.
I think if you're going to have a workshop on the 3rd, a regular meeting on the 17th, the 3rd is already beyond the submission deadline for the meeting on the 17th.
Correct.
So I don't think you can do both. I can do one or the other.
Well, I was holding the second meeting on the 17th as a workshop myself, a continuing workshop. Because I suspect once we get going, and whatever they may come back with, then we say, well, what about this? And I'm not trying to belabor this.
Yeah. Okay.
We're tied into the 3rd right now.
Can you come to the podium, please?
Is the scheduled meeting date already established, or is it a meeting that can happen any time?
Our meetings are the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of the month. Normally, we only need to meet on the first,
On the Monday, okay.
Mondays.
And then you said the
team.
following meeting would happen after Labor Day, September 14th?
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So the question is, I mean, to us, getting good feedback and clear direction sooner is ideal, right? Because then we can address it and
Right.
make sure everything's submitted correctly. So that would be our preference, is to have an earlier workshop meeting, even if we had to delay the hearing until after Labor Day. Otherwise, we're in a worse position, right? Because then we're waiting to the 17th to hear feedback and pushing another month. But we want to do whatever works. Of course, we're putting forward legal and complete applications, so.
So what if, so we can do a workshop on the 3rd of August, and then what about continuing this meeting till the 14th?
Be the 17th Monday.
Sorry, no, of September.
September, right?
That's fine.
Yeah.
If it's helpful, the submission deadline for the September meeting would be August 24th.
Then they'd have 3 weeks
Right, we
from
would have
the
plenty
date of
of
the
time
workshop
to-
to submit whatever they needed to submit in order to make the September meeting submission deadline.
So August 17th is out.
I think so.
Delete event. I gotta know. I mean,
You might have to be there for another reason.
I'm fine. I'm always available, I guess. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anything else to come before us?
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, there was a second? Thank you. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Better not be.